Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Whistle blows, turf stain with ambition. Chains clank 10 yards, the mission.
That's right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button if you're brand new. This is Game Time Grind. I'm your host, Ali the Persian. And we got Steven Mystic. Mystic is on time for once. Holy crap. How's it going, gentlemen?
Hey, nice to be on time today. Nice to be on time. Sorry, Steve, I was trying to say, it's always the best part of the show is just me and Steve seeing who go off the mic first, right? What's going on, gentlemen?
Not much. What up, Steve? What are you doing? How's everything with you?
Everything's going great, man. I'm excited. It's one of my favorite times of the year. The Underwear Olympics is here.
Underwear Olympics. That's right. Tonight we're going to be talking about the last, I'd say one of the last days of the Combine. We're talking about it in advance because the Combine technically hasn't happened. It happens this week. But we're going to be talking about running backs, wide receivers, and offensive linemen. If you missed it, go check out our other shows where we talk about tight ends and cornerbacks or defensive backs. We also talked about the defensive line and more. So definitely check out those other shows if you haven't missed it. This is the road to the Combine. There has been a lot of news today. Have you guys seen it? There's been a lot of college football news. Have you guys been paying attention today?
I've actually been pretty all over the place today. I haven't seen too much.
You missed the news. All right. Well, this is not so much news. This was a ranking that was done. I want to talk about this first because I know we have a lot to say about this. But did you guys see this ranking that was posted on X right here? And I'm actually going to put this like this so we can all sleep comfortably. This is the college football head coaches rankings, top 10. We've been talking about this since before and during the college football playoff. I have some different thoughts about the rankings. I'll start and then we can go from here. Do you guys want to start from the bottom to the top or top to bottom?
I think we can start from the bottom.
Start from the bottom. All right. So at the bottom, we'll start for the first three guys. They have Mike Elko, I think is how you pronounce it. I could be wrong about that. I'm sorry. Mario Cristobal and Steve Sarkisian. Now, Mario Cristobal had a hell of a run all the way to the national championship game. I want to give him a little bit more respect than what's been put here. Mike Elko, I want to say he had a great season, but they didn't finish very strong. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like losing to Miami really hurt them, to be honest. They should have won the SEC. That didn't happen. And I just kind of feel like, I don't want to say I agree with this rankings per se, but I do think that he should be the lower out of these three people, right? I kind of have Mario Cristobal higher than 9th. I also have him higher than even Steve Sarkisian. But I also think Steve Sarkisian, technically, I think he kind of deserves to be a little bit higher on this ranking. What do you guys think?
So, I guess the more I think about it and the more I look at it, and the whole, based on, was it the last three or is that last three? I guess. I don't know. Yeah, Mario needs to be higher up the list in my opinion. Lane Kiffin, we'll get to him. I don't know, man. I think, in my opinion, I think Mario needs to be in the top 4. But that's just me. I guess we'll get to that.
Ollie, you're muted.
Yep, you're muted.
My bad. I agree with you, Mystic. I think Mario Cristobal should be in the top 5. That's where I have him in top 5. I'm not going to say number 4 yet. We can definitely get to that, but I have him in the top 5. I do want to talk about Lane Kiffin, but before we talk about that, I want Steve's opinion of the bottom 3, first of all. Go ahead.
The fact that Mario Cristobal at 9 is disgusting. That is disgusting. We talked about this when we did the rankings of the head coaches in the playoffs. Who's accomplished more with less than Mario Cristobal?
I can only say one person, and that's Kurt Signetti.
Like Ryan Day makes sense, right? They just won a national championship. Kirby Smart, they've won 2 in the last 4 years, 5 years.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Lane Kiffin at 6, Mr. All Pro guys go win it for me. Kalen DeBoer. When was the last time Alabama was in the national championship? How many years has it been? 5. Like,
feels like a while. Mm-hmm.
It's been a while. Like Steve Sarkisian, like great coach. Texas didn't even make the playoffs. I'm sorry, like that falls on the coach. When was the last time the Texas did anything?
I will say, and to be fair to Texas, right? They've been competitive prior to this past year, the 3 seasons prior to that, they've been pretty competitive. In fact, Steve Sarkisian did make it to the semi-playoff in 2024 where they had to go up against Ohio State. So I'll give them that. But I would say that's also more recent than seeing Alabama in the national championship game. So I kind of have Kalen DeBoer under Steve Sarkisian just a little bit. Lane Kiffin. Has Lane Kiffin even been to a semifinal?
Thank you.
Has he been to a national championship when he was the head coach?
Nope. It's always the coach that comes in after him.
Okay. So, and the fact that they have him with LSU already at number 6, you don't even know who the QB is going to be at LSU. You don't know how this defense is going to be. You don't know how this offense is going to be, right? It takes a little bit to get there, right? Dan Lanning, they have him at number 4. Dan Lanning is, in my opinion, and I hate to say this, but he's starting to make me feel like he's the next Coach Franklin, to be honest. And you think about it, amazing recruiter. Oregon's an amazing recruiter. They're always, because they got so much money because of that Nike money, they're always able to recruit players without any problem, right?
Hot take.
But they think it's their year. They're going to be able to be there. They're going to be the number 1 team, only to break your heart. This is the same merry-go-round or broken record, spin me right round like a broken record that Penn State did. Penn State, amazing recruiter. They have all the talent. They're going to get there. They beat up everybody. They go into the playoffs, only get their ass kicked. And it happens like a broken record over and over and over again. So Oregon and Dan Lanning, it reminds me of Penn State. I feel like they're on the Penn State track when Coach Franklin was there. Marcus Freeman, he's an interesting person, right? I want to say in his first 2 years of, actually the first 3 years, I want to say the first 3 years of being a head coach for Notre Dame, he got to the national championship game. You know what I mean? I have to give it to him for that. Just like how we said Mario Cristobal, we have to give it to him. He got to the national championship game. Marcus Freeman did it in lesser time than Mario Cristobal. So that's kind of why I have Mario Cristobal in our top 5, but I don't necessarily have him at number 4. I have him more at number 5 because Marcus Freeman did the same thing just in a shorter period of time. You get what I'm saying on that? Everybody else still has something to prove. That's where I'm at so far with my ranking.
Yeah, literally. That's where I'm at when it comes to this whole situation. Is I totally agree. When you look at the top 4, okay, look, I could put Lanning at 5. Because again, I'm with you in Notre Dame. I feel like Notre Dame is just, I don't know. They just like building that brand. I can't stand it. Lane Kiffin, I have nothing. In my opinion, you drop him to 9. I'll leave Sarkisian at 8 because like I said, I'm putting Mario at 4. And then I hate to do it to you, but I think Kurt Signetti needs to be on top right now. He just won a national championship having like no 5 stars, maybe barely any 4 stars. Beat some good teams.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. However, this is where I won't give it to you. Okay. I will say that Kurt Signetti should be number 2 and Kirby Smart should be number 1 and Ryan Day at number 3. And the reason for that is Kirby Smart has 2 national championships and he has multiple SEC titles at this point. I think he has more than one because they just won the SEC title. And I think he won it in one of those 2 championship games. I'm pretty sure he won the SEC title in those years too, right?
I'll give you
Ryan Day hasn't won. I don't think he's won a Big Ten title. I could be wrong about that. I have to go back and look. But I don't think he has the title game, but he has the national championship game. So that's one. Kurt Signetti this year has national championship and a Big Ten title. So that's kind of why I have him at number 2. To be honest, between these 3 coaches, if I'm a program, I would be cool with any of these 3 coaches. Doesn't matter if it's Kurt Signetti, Kirby Smart, or Ryan Day, right? To me, that's kind of, it's 1, 2, or 3. Doesn't matter. I'm down with all 3 of them.
Ryan Day has.
This is based on the last 3 years, though, right?
This, based on 3 years rolling, yes. So they're basing it on the last 3 years. So let's base it on the last 3 years. The last 3 years, Ryan Day has been more consistent than some of the other names here. Kirby Smart is still really good. They're always competitive, always, making it into the playoffs or being in the picture, right? Kurt Signetti in the last 3 years, what has he done? Flipped Indiana into one of the best programs, which hot topic. They're trying to get some 5-star recruit I was reading.
Oh yeah.
Finally. So that's kind of where I'm at. Dan Lanning, on the other hand, talks a big game, recruits, doesn't finish the job. So I don't really care for that. Marcus Freeman, he talks a big game, but he also did land them into a national championship game where they and let's not forget, I believe they beat Penn State in the semifinal. I think that's who they beat last year or the year before last year. And you look at Mario Cristobal, I have him at number 5 because he got to the national championship game. Now, granted, it may have taken a little bit longer than I think it did Marcus Freeman. And quote me if I'm wrong on that. I believe that's true. Then that's kind of why I have him at number 5, right? Otherwise, they're tied to me. 4 or 5 are tied, in my opinion. Kalen DeBoer is the only one that's kind of interesting. And the only reason for that is, didn't he get to a national championship game, or am I wrong about that with Washington? Or did he lose in the semifinal? Because he was with Washington, I believe.
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head.
I'm actually going to look that up right now. Kalen DeBoer, college.
But if he had, that hasn't been the last 3 years. He's been with Alabama the last 3 years, right?
The last 3 years he's been with Alabama? Or is the last 2 years?
Is it 2?
Washington 2024 college national championship.
So he's only been
Oh, he's only been there a year. Okay.
Yeah, 2 years. He's been there 2 years. With Washington, so he takes I'm sorry. So he was with the college football playoff with Washington, took him to a national championship game. After that season, he went to Alabama, led them to a college football playoff in his second season at Alabama. So he's been there 3 years, only took him to a college football playoff game once. Actually, he's been there 2 years and he only took him once. So, but
he got embarrassed.
Yeah, he did get embarrassed. But he also, just like Mario Cristobal and just like Marcus Freeman, he's gotten to that national championship game. He didn't necessarily win it, but he's gotten there. So the question for me now has come to the fact is, Marcus Freeman, Mario Cristobal, or Kellen DeBoer, how do you rank who's the best out of those 3? Because that's going to figure out my 4, 5, and 6, to be honest.
Who do you think accomplished the most with the least?
I'm going to say that Mario Cristobal is better than Kalen DeBoer because, number one, he has been more consistent. Miami was good the year before last, right? And then this year, they were good. They good enough definitely to make a national championship game when it counted. So I'm going to say I've seen better years from Mario Cristobal than I've seen Kalen DeBoer. So he's already ahead of Kalen DeBoer in that fact. What else?
Marcus even last year, remember Miami got snubbed out of the playoffs and everybody was like, I can't believe you didn't make it. And then Alabama got in out of nowhere when they really shouldn't have been there.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, I think Mario has accomplished the most with the least for me. Like, he took a program, much like Kurt Zanetti, which I believe Kurt Zanetti should be number 2. I understand the Kirby Smart, and it could be just like the recency bias, but he took a team that was 3-9 and immediately made them a 2-loss team that first year. And then the second year, he won a national championship with no 5 stars. Like, so that stuff means more to me than like, and it's not taking away what Kirby Smart is or what Dan Lanning is done with Oregon or Marcus Freeman's done with Notre Dame, but like, you're taking over teams full of 5-star recruits. You can make the argument that Dan Lanning took over a team that Mario built.
Yeah. I'm looking at Marcus Freeman right now because I guess he's been with them for 4 straight seasons, right? He's gotten to a bowl game each year, except this past year he declined the bowl game, even though they were 10-2. His best season was 2024 at 14-2. Give me 1 second. I'm just checking Mario Cristobal next. 1 second here. Here we go. Let's see. So it looks like both Mario Cristobal and Marcus Freeman have been head coaches for their respective teams for 4 seasons total, right? Oh, okay. So this is something interesting. So 2025 was Mario Cristobal's best season as the Hurricanes head coach. They went 13-3 total. That includes the 3 wins in the playoffs and the loss in the national championship. So they were 13-2. I'm sorry, 13-3. I'm sorry, 13-3 total. Now, prior to that, they had a 10-3 season, which was the one where they went to the Pop-Tart Bowl where they lost. Prior to that, they were 7-6. They lost in the Pinstripe Bowl, and then also they were 5-7 in 2022. Go to Marcus Freeman. 4 full seasons I'm going by, so from 25 to 22. First season 9-4, won the Gator. What is that? The Gator Bowl. Yeah, the Gator Bowl. 23, they went 10-3, won the Sun Bowl, and then they were 14-2, just like this past season. They lost the national championship game, and then they were 10-2, and then they declined. So, looking at the seasons comparatively, if you look and break it down, it kind of looks like barely, but Notre Dame has had slightly better record under Marcus Freeman than what Miami has had with Mario Cristobal. Now, the argument is who had lesser to work with. I'm going to say both were about equal if you really look at the programs and where they had to come from, to be honest. I mean, the only thing I would say is that Mario Cristobal had a little bit lesser to work with. Let's see, they were 9-4 and 22 from Notre Dame. 5-7. 5th Coastal. I'm just looking here to see where they finished. I would say it's really just a flip of the coin on based on opinion, but okay, so Mario Cristobal had a little bit less to work with, slightly. I guess you could say that. But the records and where they've ended up the last 4 years has been very similar, to be honest. So what do you think? I mean, you could also look at Mario Cristobal's record with Oregon. I have that too, because he was there too. Also, let's not forget it.
Yeah, he built up that team.
Did he really though? Because Herbert, from my understanding, Herbert was there prior to him, so he didn't really have to, go out and recruit a big time quarterback. He already had one. The seasons that I'm looking, where he coached the full season, 2018 at Oregon, he went 9-4. They won the Red Box Bowl when that was a thing. 2019, that was his best season, 12-2, won the Rose Bowl. 2020, 4-3. That was not a really good season at all. I think that's the year that we had COVID. They lost in the Fiesta Bowl. They got to the Fiesta Bowl somehow still. And then 2021, they were 10-3 and they lost in the Alamo Bowl. So did he build up that team? I really don't know if he did or didn't. I will say that he had a tougher time coaching at that point, but he did have 2 seasons already. So I'd say based on experience, we can give it to Mario Cristobal at number 4. How do you guys feel about that?
I mean, he had Tyler Shook as his starting quarterback that year too. Remember?
That's true. That's true.
Like,
I
Yeah.
had Mario at 4. So
You had Mario at 4?
Yep, sure did.
All right, so I'll give it to you guys. Mario at 4, Marcus Freeman at 5, and then Kalen DeBoer at 6.
Yep,
Is that how you guys feel?
that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the top 3? Just so we can get down to from 1 to 6. Are you guys on the fence about Kirby Smart and Kurt Signetti at 1 and 2, or like what do you guys think for that?
Honestly, I got Netty 1, Ryan Day 2, and Smart 3 based on the last 3 years.
Okay. And what do you have, Steve?
I actually don't hate it. I just flip Kirby and Cincinnati.
You have it 1. You have 1 Ryan Day.
2 Cincinnati, 3 Smart, 4 Cristobal.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mystic. I'm gonna kind of go with Steve on this, and it's only because
Ohio State bias. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
it's because I have to give it to Ryan Day, the fact that he's been with the team for however many years, and he still has a 80 something and 10 record. You got to give it to the guy that he has like an amazing record still. You know what I mean? That's even though he's won one national championship, he's won so much. It's kind of crazy, to be honest. And then you look at Kirby Smart and Kurt Signetti. Kirby Smart is damn deserving of number 2, but I'm going to give it to Kurt Signetti at number 2 because he's done it in less time. That's why. So, and he's more recent. So I kind of agree with Steve. I'm going with Steve. So you've been outvoted. But so it's Ryan Day number 1, Kurt Signetti at number 2, Kirby Smart at number 3, followed by Mario Cristobal, Marcus Freeman, and then Kalen DeBoer. So the question now asks is, who is 7, 8, 9, and 10? So out of Dan Lanning, Steve Sarkisian, Mike Elkmo, or Lane Kiffin, who do you have to be the better head coach out of those 4 people? Any thoughts?
Yeah, the names went through my mind. So you said
so you got
Elko,
Lane Kiffin,
Sarkisian, Kiffin, and Lanning. Lanning, I think Lanning would be the first on the board.
Yep.
Then Sarkisian, then Elko, then Kiffin.
You're gonna call my Ohio State biased. I'm gonna call Mystics Big Ten biased. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I want to look up. I want to check something.
No bias.
You have no bias?
I have no bias.
It's lies. You have South Florida bias.
No, but see, none of this, that doesn't apply to this. Auburn's not on here, or Auburn would be last.
No, Miami's down there, though. Oh.
No, Miami's up top. There's no bias.
I'm checking one other person because I think I have an argument to be made.
If you tell me Lane Kiffin's above Elko, I quit the shit. I'm just kidding.
No. I think Lane Kiffin's more towards the bottom right now. Ooh, this is gonna be good, man. This is between, for me, looking at these guys, I'm gonna say Dan Lanning and Steve Sarkisian is fighting for that number 7 spot. Let me just give you their record respectively over the past 4, maybe 5 years. Okay, I know this is from the past 3 years, but I'm looking at it in totality, right? So Steve Sarkisian's been the coach since 2021 at Texas. Okay, before that, if you didn't know, he was at USC. Prior to USC, he was at Washington. For people that don't know, at Texas, that's who we're arguing with right now. The last 3 seasons, he's been 12-2 in 23. He was 13-3 in 24, and then 10-3 this season, right? And he had a hell of a run in the 24 season. So the past 3 seasons, he has been very, very competitive. Dan Lanning, on the other hand, you look at his record. He's been the coach at Oregon since 2022. He's been 10-3 his first season. 23, he was 12-2. He won the Fiesta Bowl that season. Then 24, he was 13-1. And then in 25, he was 13-2. So I kind of give Dan Lanning, because he's been doing it the last 4 seasons, right, where he's been very competitive. Whereas Steve Sarkisian has been the last 3 seasons. So Dan Lanning has been doing it just a little bit longer. I'm going to say Dan Lanning at number 7, Steve Sarkisian at number 8, where he's at. Then my question comes, Lane Kiffin or Mike Elko, who's 9 and 10? How do you guys think about that? Do you guys agree about Steve Sarkisian and Dan Lanning where I have them?
Yeah, I like the argument.
I mean, Dan Lanning's
exactly what I did.
To be honest. So I don't really follow the Oregon Ducks like that. So, but I do agree. I kind of think he has to be at number 7. Steve Sarkisian's number 8. Lane Kiffin had a hell of a season going with Ole Miss. Too bad it didn't work out where he couldn't finish the season with them. But it makes me question, if things didn't work out that way, and let's say he was still the Ole Miss coach, would they have had a deeper run in the college playoffs? Would they have not? Would it have been the same? I don't know. I'm going to say Lane Kiffin at number 9, Mike Elko at number 10 still.
Okay, I'm leaving the show. No, I'm just kidding.
No, give me an argument. Come on, tell me why you think Lane Kiffin should be number 10.
Lane, here's my problem. Elko, Texas A&M, right? Like, I get they lost the first round. They lost to the team that went to the national championship and arguably had one of the best defenses in all of college, right? I can't say Lane Kiffin would have done what Ole Miss did because he's never done it. Like, the dude has consistently outcoached himself. He is, you remember the old phrase, always a bridesmaid, never the bride? That is Lane Kiffin. He's always setting it up for somebody else. I could sound like a hater or whatever, but that's just, I would take Mike Elko. I feel like he's done well with Texas A&M. The draft is about to be loaded with A&M players. I think we went over that list last week, right, Ollie? I think it was. Yeah. When we were talking about the most players coming into the draft from teams, and they were like the number 1 team. I like that. That means a lot to me. That means he knows how to find players, and he knows how to develop them through the college system and put them into the league. Like, that means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ole Miss overachieved a lot, and I think them wanting to prove that they didn't need Lane Kiffin, that they were better without Lane Kiffin, got them where they got, personally. But that's me. I don't think that had to do with Lane Kiffin.
Okay. What do you think? Mystic?
Well, I'm kind of with you on it.
Well, here's something you may not have known, Steve. Mike Elko's only time he's ever had double-digit wins in a season was this past season. This is the most wins he's ever had as a head coach. He's only been a head coach since 2022. He was 9-4 at Duke. His first season, 2023, 7-5. And then he's been with Texas A&M the last 3 years, or actually the last 2 years, and he was 8-5 his first season, and then this past season he's won 11-2. So that honestly is his first time getting to the college football playoff, let alone winning more than 10 games or more than 9 games, I should say. That was his first time. You look at Lane Kiffin. Doesn't matter if it was with USC, Florida Atlantic, because he was the FAU head coach, if you remember. And since 2020, he's been with Ole Miss. He has continuously put out performances where he can show that he can take teams and win more than 10 games. The last 3 seasons at Ole Miss, he was 11-2, 10-3, 11-1. I kind of have to say, based on history, especially if we're going to go based on the 3-year rolling rule, I want to say that Lane Kiffin has been more productive than Mike Elko.
Yeah, based on record. Yeah, like you're right. I have to keep the same energy, even though I don't.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Like he does have. I will say this: I'm not a Lane Kiffin fan. First of all, I like some of the players he's helped develop over the years, especially Keyshawn Judkins, who's the running back out of Cleveland. He got injured this year, but he dedicates a lot of his productivity in the SEC to Lane Kiffin. So I have to give it up to. I got to thank him for that. You can also thank him for guys like I want to say. DK Metcalf, I think, came out of Ole Miss, and so did AJ Brown. I think both those guys were there for the Lane Kiffin years. I could be wrong about that, but I know that a lot of talent have come out at Ole Miss altogether during his tenure. But I do agree that Lane Kiffin is starting to kind of remind me of Coach Franklin with Penn State, where he had all this talent, set up the foundation, and just couldn't get it done over and over and over again. It does kind of feel like that with, a little bit. I do agree with you. He can't get it done. If you got to go based on record, which is how I'm trying to do this mostly, I'm keeping the same energy for everybody. And the time frame it's taken them to become successful, I kind of have... I have to have Lane Kiffin at 9 and then Mike Elko at number 10, just for that fact. I thought Kalen DeBoer would be lower at the bottom, to be honest, looking at this, but I forgot that he was with Washington and got to a national championship game. So that's why I kind of have him higher than even Lane Kiffin or some of these other guys. Any arguments? You guys are super quiet.
Well, I was letting you finish your statement. No, I mean, like I said, like if we're going based on record in the last 3 years, like you're right. Like as much as I don't believe in Kiffin, he has to take it over Elko.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see what he does with LSU. It'll be very interesting. I'm already going to give you a hot take right off the get-go. I think Lane Kiffin and this LSU project isn't going to go anywhere. I don't think it's going to improve them any more than they've been the last, maybe they get to the college football playoff, right? And they may have a run or two, but I don't think it equates to winning a national championship game. That's my belief in Lane Kiffin, even at LSU. So did you say something, Mystic? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I dig that take, honestly. I've never really liked Lane Kiffin. I really haven't. Never been like a huge fan of the guy. I never really saw like everything. The huge, oh my goodness, what people are talking about.
Yeah.
There's just something about him I don't like, and I try not to be that guy. Like, oh, I see this guy, I don't like it. No, I don't like the way you treated these last kids at Ole Miss that just put all this time in to be good, and you just kind of just shipped them on down the road to get a promotion. Is pretty much what you did, and that's some nasty business. I'm not a fan of that. Definitely should have followed through with the process, finish what you're doing, and then take the next job. But he's over here trying to be that guy to do the most and take the most that he can and get the biggest opportunity, and like, it is what it is. But yeah, I like where we have this list. Obviously, I'll continue to argue the top, but I think the bottom kind of just speaks for itself.
Kind of agree with you. Definitely. So let's get on to some of the other news. I know we've spent a lot of time on these rankings, and I figured we'd talk about it since we just did this recently, trying to see what these people think. So pretty interesting. Let me go ahead and remove this off the screen. Other news, NC State has a new quarterback commit. Did you hear the news? Gunnar Rivers.
Oh, wow.
The legacy son of Philip Rivers, had, just like his dad, has decided to take his talents to North Carolina State, NC State. And NC State has a new QB. I'm kind of excited for him. You know, I like legacy stories. I like to see them follow in their, their parents' footsteps. And it'll be really interesting. If you guys don't know, Gunnar Phillips went to North Carolina State or NC State, and he was an 8-time Pro Bowler right out of NC State. And now his son, who's a 4-star quarterback, could be 5-star, depending on if rivals have, sometimes rivals and their rankings will give him a 5th star. We'll see if that happens. But he has committed to NC State. So congratulations to him. Interesting fact, speaking of legacies, this was an interesting one. Did you guys see Emmitt Smith's son, I guess, decide to go to Stanford, I think? It was Stanford. Did you guys see that?
No, I didn't. You pulling out?
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
yeah. So people were asking. Oops, where'd you guys go? There you guys are. People were asking. Like, does I don't like that one either. Which one do I like? Don't like that one. There we go. This is the one I like. Sorry. People were asking. Emmitt Smith were asking. Like, are you upset your son didn't go to Florida? You're a Gator and everything. You're a Gator royalty. And essentially, from my understanding, he said something like, listen, it's not about him, following in my footsteps and doing what I did and being a Gator. He's going to make his own legacy. He's going to follow his own footsteps, and he's going to make the best out of his situation. And I fully support him, and I'm going to be his number one fan and everything. And then he said, just him being my son makes him a Gator by default. So he'll always be a Gator regardless. What do you guys think of that? Do you guys kind of agree with what he said?
That's honestly a solid take. And look, you have these guys nowadays who understand their son can't fill, they shouldn't have to be asked to fill those shoes. Not that they can't fill the shoes, they shouldn't be asked to fill those shoes. They need to be their own person. They need to be able to be their own person. And by him saying, look, he'll always be royalty, basically, but he's going to go pave his own way. That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So I thought that was awesome. Figured I'd share that with you guys since that was some college football news that popped up. There's some more.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
I don't like the expectations we put on legacy players. I've always hated the expectations we put on legacy players. Because look at Arch. And we had this argument in a space, Mystic, 3 days ago? We were talking about Arch. Like,
it just happened again today.
I got a question for you though. I have a question for you though. Is Arch a legacy player though?
Yes, Arch is a legacy player because his dad and his grandfather were both great players. His dad actually was really good before he blew his knee out and never played again. But his grandfather was a really good quarterback for the the Vikings and the Saints, mainly the Saints. But just being a Manning, right, and what that family brings,
I gotcha.
It puts unnecessary expectations on him. Look at even with Shador, right? Like, I'm not a fan of Shador. It's no secret. Even Shiloh, both of them were expected to be these things, and they just aren't them. Jeremiah Trotter, right? Uh, his son is with the Eagles, right?
Mm.
He was expected to be his dad in college, and he wasn't. That doesn't mean he's a bad player. It doesn't mean he's not, a good player. He's a good player. He's just not his dad. Like I hate that we put these expectations on these kids, and then when they don't succeed, they're terrible players, or they're not going to be good players. Arch, I hated on him a lot early because, in my opinion, I was told a lot of hype, and he didn't live up to that hype. But I watched this kid grow throughout the entire season into pretty damn decent quarterback. Is he what the hype said he was? No, but he's getting there. For me,
I completely understand where you're coming from, but I want to just go back to a certain point I made. Is he really a legacy player or not? And the reason I said that, and I agree, he does have the Manning name, so he is a legacy player based on the Manning name, but not necessarily his dad. And the reason I say that is his dad, yeah, he may have been a really good, highly, touted prospect, and he did commit to Ole Miss. But from my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I may have to go back and research this more. My understanding is he never really got to play a full season at Ole Miss because of he got some type of spinal injury and he had numbness during practice or something that summer before the season, though. Am I wrong about that?
He was loaded with injuries. Loaded.
Because I don't think he played a game in college, did he? That's the only reason why I said, is he a legacy to his dad or is he a legacy to the family name? Do you see what I'm saying?
I would give legacy to the family name, even if you don't want to give it to his dad because of his grandfather and who his uncles are.
I get you. I'll give you that. I want to argue it because he's still a Manning, and I don't really want to argue it because that was a freak issue with his dad and his career and stuff, if I'm right about it. So I kind of agree with you. It's just that, I think we have to look at legacy players a different way based on who they're coming from, right? You look at, you want to look at, for example, I'm trying to think of the athlete's name that I'm thinking of right this moment. God, what was his name? I had his name lined up, Steve, and when you said no,
I can take it to a different sport. I can take it to another sport.
Go ahead.
Go to your basketball team.
Okay.
Right? LeBron's son. Look at the expectations that were put on Bronny.
Yeah. I agree. In that situation, I think the expectations was so high that it didn't turn out the way people thought. I definitely agree in that aspect. Also, I kind of blame LeBron and his bravado for some of the issues that happened with Bronny. And the reason being is Bronny was at USC. I think he should have played out his career at USC before jumping to the NBA. But because they wanted to make the father-son thing so big, I think it stunts his development. I think even though he's good in some cases and he's gotten better and better since, having this is like his first or second year in the season or whatever, in the league. I think if he would have played out his full college basketball career, I think it would have the overall result would be a lot better. That's what I'm trying to say. But I'll go to soccer. Soccer is a good one to look at, right? You look at a soccer player named Carlos. I think it's Carlos Renia is his name. Who played for United States soccer team, national men's team. His son plays for U.S. national team as well. And I'll argue that his son is better than even what his father was at the same age. I'll argue he's a better prospect, a better overall player, and it is even more accomplished in certain cases than his dad. I'll argue that. But I know there's other cases. What didn't Ken Griffey Jr.'s dad play in baseball? And I would say Ken Griffey Jr. was better
Yes,
than his dad.
they
right?
played together in Seattle.
Yeah, and Ken Griffey Jr. is better. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I think there's situations where the expectation is that they're going to be better or just as good, and rightfully so, because there's evidence of that, right? But I also think that because of these expectations, and this is what you're saying, Steve, that there's just so much expectations, when it doesn't work out, you think all is lost. Arch Manning could definitely, be the guy that everybody expects him to be, but sometimes you have to have patience. So that's where I think it is. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, it's in every sport. Like, you can run down Dale Earnhardt Jr. in racing, right? The expectations of him and his brother Kerry were insane. You can, like, who was it Jordan's son? I think it was one of Jordan's kids. Like, he hated basketball, but he only played it because everybody's expectations of him was he was going to play basketball, and then he ended up just hating it and never played. Yeah, Rashad, there you go, Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonds, right? Like,
Oh my God, I forgot about the Bonds. That's a good one.
yeah, like it's legacy in anything, right? Like even in pro wrestling, like you can go to any sport, entertainment, anything. Legacy always comes with being you're always referred to your parent in that sport, and
Uh-huh.
it comes to almost an unfair thing because your dad could have been one of the greatest players of all time. You may still be a great player, but that doesn't mean you could be your dad, right? Like, could you imagine being a Marino and playing football? Oh my dear God.
Mhm.
Brady's son, Tom Brady's son, is going to be in the league sooner or later. Like, he's already being recruited to colleges, and I think he's a freshman in high school or a sophomore. Like, the expectations on that kid is going to be insane. I just,
Mhm.
I try to put out that to the ether, right? Like, we need to stop trying to put the expectations of because their father was a great player, therefore you're going to be a great player, and just let these kids prove who they are
Mhm.
and just go from there.
Here, I'll give you a really good one. And we got to see them race in the same race together. And it was one of the best stories in American sports history, in my opinion. Go look at Junior and Senior. And if you know who I'm talking about, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Dale Earnhardt Sr. as race car drivers, right? I saw one of the, some of the best races, Daytona 500s ever, when they were both racing together, and it was amazing. Was Junior as good as his dad? A lot of people, if you were a Senior fan, are going to say no. They're going to say Senior was the best, right?
Senior was slightly better.
He was slightly. I would say was better, but he was better over an entire career. Dale, I don't think raced as long as his dad did, right? Because I think Dale now doesn't race anymore. I believe he does.
Junior?
Junior, I don't think he
Junior
does.
Junior's racing career was, I believe, longer than Senior's.
Are you sure about that?
Because Senior started in 85.
All I know is it doesn't matter how long that career is. All that matters is that dude was never the same when his dad died on that track.
Yes.
For 1 year, for 1 year it was the same, and then after his dad, for 1 year it was the same.
Yeah,
one
that's
year.
what I'm saying. Like, if
Well-
that doesn't happen, we talk about, in my opinion, we talk about Junior in a totally different light.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that because he's going to be a Hall of Fame race car driver. Like,
Yeah, which is
Dale
not taking a slight at him at all.
Jr.
He could have his career could have been better. Is my point. It could have been that much better. He's a totally different guy. There's like a whole documentary about it. You can actually listen to him talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard for him to get back in that car, and that's the shit part. Is if that doesn't happen, we see probably just this different version winning multiple championships. I think that dude he should have won multiple championships. That's
I
what it
agree.
is.
I definitely agree. I don't want to take anything away from him, but my point is that I think Dale was set up. Had what not happened to his dad, I think Dale was set up to like take that Earnhardt to a whole nother level name. Even though it's so big already, he could definitely have won those championships, like you said. And actually looking at it, Earnhardt Sr. raced from 1975 to 2001, right? Whereas Junior raced from 2000, actually not 2000, I'm sorry. He raced from 1999 to 2017. So looking at it technically, for me, I think that's another where people had the expectations, but I also think that he definitely could have done it. I think he could have definitely succeeded it. Going back to football, because I want to bring it back to that. Here's another legacy name: Marvin Harrison and Marvin Harrison Jr. Right? Marvin Harrison and Marvin Harrison Jr.'s rookie stats are almost on par to each other for the first 2 years. They're almost on par, right? People say that Marvin Harrison was much better, but what they're forgetting is it took Marvin Harrison 4 years to really make it big and become the receiver that he was at Indianapolis until he got going. So it's sometimes, even though you're right, there's all these expectations, but some of these expectations are built on the fact that people don't evaluate apples to apples. They try to look at apples and oranges and evaluate, if you know what I mean by that. They don't evaluate based on the same time length or the same circumstances, right? They're looking at it, oh, he's this, and then he's this. They look at it in overalls. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I question like legacy players. Like, how do you guys feel about it? Do you think he'll live up to the parent stats or anywhere close? Phillip Rivers, say what you want. He may not have won a Super Bowl, but I could have him on my fantasy team, and I knew he was going to have an air raid ball out with somebody. I was watching him and who was the Saints quarterback for a long time period, if you guys remember the Saints quarterback. Everyone compares him to Tua.
Drew
Brees, right? When Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers as a Charger would play, you knew it was just going to be a shootout, right? It was whoever was going to outlast the other. And there was tons of yards, tons of touchdowns. He had a hell of a career. And watching the guy play in a game this season was freaking amazing. And I was like, what in the hell's going on? Phillip Rivers is playing in a game, scored a touchdown. You know what I mean? So shout out to Phillip Rivers. But it is very interesting. So just wanted to point that out. Any other final thoughts on legacies? Because I don't want to dwell on this too much.
No, I'm good, man. Good talk.
Good talk. All right, let me just check. There was one other thing in the news that I wanted to mention real quick. And then we're going to get to our main subject. And this one, Steve's going to laugh at this. Who here looked at Mel Kiper's recent mock draft? Anybody? Raise your hand.
I did. I got to find it.
Did you see who was number 2?
So that's who that was. So yes, I did see that. It blew my mind.
Caleb Downs, number 2 to the Jets. If that happens, I'm going to be coming with some receipts, Steve. That's all I'm going to say. So,
if that happens, I will be holding a funeral space for Caleb Downs' career, because I don't want him to go to the Jets either. I don't know if he can even outdo that fucking curse.
That's true. I don't want him to go to the Jets personally. I love this guy. I'd rather see him with some other team. And I'm not saying this will happen, but could you imagine if he becomes a Raider? That means effectively in history, not the Raiders, I'm sorry, the Ravens is what I meant to say, the Ravens. That would mean if he goes to the Ravens, that would mean effectively that they have had every Hall of Fame or potential Hall of Fame safety that's ever been out virtually, because they all end up somehow becoming a Raven, right? Just wanted to say that real quick. But the real reason I'm laughing at it and that I'm coming with receipts is that we've had this argument, not you and I, but we as in fought together against an argument is Caleb Downs all that or not? And people are saying that he's not really deserving of a top 5 selection, let alone a top 10 selection, right? But the experts, Mel Kiper, who's been doing this for a better part of 20 years now or whatever, and others are constantly telling me he's a definite top 10 for sure. But most recently, it's been top 5. And now most recently number 2 overall, according to Mel Kiper. So what do you guys think? You agree with him? Disagree with him?
I think it's crazy. I love it. I think it's funny.
Just saying. The guy has the hype behind him. That's the thing. The guy has the hype behind him.
Yeah.
And we'll see what he does in the combine. Because if he puts out a hell of a show, running the 40, putting up the reps on the bench, the long jump, see what he does in the different different stuff they're gonna have him do, right, at the combine, and does a hell of a performance. And I think he could very well end up a top 5 pick for sure. Number 2 would be like, holy shit, right? But
Mel wouldn't put him up there for no reason.
Yeah, I would say I think he's definitely deserving. And I know a lot of people put a lot of weight in the little interviews that teams have with players behind closed doors, and you hear little tidbits. Like last year was all about what Shador said or didn't say, right? That's all we heard. You don't have to worry about that. This guy's going to knock it out of the park. I don't know if you guys know this. Caleb Downs, and I want to say his brother, have their own podcast. The guy's really good at speaking, not just to the media, but in front of the camera and everything. He's really good.
You are trained. Oh, man, sign me up.
He's already trained. You don't have to worry about him saying anything silly. Let's put it that way. But for me, I think the guy's definitely deserving. And I think he's a hell of a player, hell of a leader, hell of a human being. Is he number 2 overall? I don't know. I don't know. I'm perfectly kosher if he's top 5, but number 2, wow. And the fact that we know what the Jets really need over there, being the fact that we're Dolphin fans, we know what they need. It's very similar stuff that we need. But they traded all this draft pick not to get a quarterback. That's kind of surprising, to me. I don't know. What do you feel, Steve? You've been quiet.
I think he's worth the top 5 pick just fucking fine. I don't understand. I tried to explain this when we made the argument, and I understand people's problem. Reality is generational doesn't mean you're the greatest player to ever play that spot. It means in your generation, do you have all of the traits at the top of the list? And he has it all. He is a generational prospect because his impact is felt. He's going to he's got the speed, he's got the talent, he's got the strength, he's got the physicality, he's got the intelligence. He can play every position along the defensive secondary. I think he could even play a little blitzing safety. He can play everything you want him to play.
Yep.
That is a generational prospect. Will he be a generational player? We do not know.
Don't know.
But from a prospect, all them bitches are green. Everything in there. Green. It's all in the green.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. I don't want to say that he's generational, like the way that they want to say that he is. But but as a prospect, and a prospect that can play everything at a very highly, I would argue, sometimes elite level, in every position that he covers in all of them. I think you kind of have to look at it being a generational prospect at that point. In addition, in one position that a lot of people don't give him a lot of credit for, but I know he can do it. In fact, he's run it all the way into the end zone several times, or at least a few times in the biggest moments. That's punt return. I think he's a hell of a punt returner. But again, I get why he doesn't do it a lot, because he's that much important to the defense, to be honest. So we'll definitely talk more about him after his combine performance. I'm really excited to see how he does. For me, it's more of like, wow, this kid they keep just raising the post on him. So I'm really excited to see what he does. But with further ado, I want to get into the main topic, the road to the combine. Before we get into that, everybody at home, please hit the like button. Make sure you share this with your friends. We're trying to build the community. Make sure you subscribe if you're brand new. Turn on the notification bells. Comment. Be part of the chat. I know some of you are watching on TFTG. Come over to at 4th and 10U. We really were trying to build our channel up over here. And you can join the chat and everybody can speak together. Also follow at 4th and 10U on Twitter or X at the same time. And yeah, let's get into this. Today we're talking about running backs, wide receivers, and offensive linemen. We got a lot to talk about. Who wants to go first?
Ooh. What? We're just gonna go just like anyone we want type of thing, or we just gonna go running backs? Like,
We'll start off with running backs, but who wants to go first?
oh, okay, I got this.
Okay.
I want to go with. I'm surprised neither of you took him. I really am, because I mean, again, maybe everyone talks about him too much, but I keep seeing videos about the kid, and now everyone wants to say, "Oh, well, he didn't really do much when he played Miami, and this and that, and yada yada yada." I do not care. Jeremiah Love, running back, Notre Dame, 6', 214. The tape doesn't lie. The feet don't lie. That kid looks special. If we're talking about all around best running back, I think in this draft class, I think that kid's it by a landslide. Top speeds elite. He has awesome, reliable hands. Could be a 3-down back. They're talking about comparisons of people see shades of like an Alvin Kamara, but the one that really got me personally, that's why I'm just loving the kid. A lot of people say they see a young LaDainian Tomlinson. And if this kid can even have a shade of LT, and we could get a season where this dude's just blowing defenses away and no one can stop him, I'm all for it, man. I love watching people do that stuff. When we like Saquon, 2 years ago? That was so much fun to watch. I'm all for this kid, dude. I don't think he's going to be there at 11. I think the Chiefs take him personally. He's going to fit everything they want him to do in Kansas City. It's going to make Patrick Mahomes easier, his job easier, everything all around. They thought they had their guy with Pacheco and whatnot. No, this is the dude that they need.
What do you think, Steve? Jeremiah Love, you buying it?
Here's my hot take of this entire series. I think Jeremiah falls in the second round.
That is a hot take. I may have a hotter take. And let me just find who I'm talking about. Keep going, Steve. You go. Yeah. You keep going. I'm gonna come back to me though. Come back to me.
Oh dang! Yeah. He found something. He found something he likes, folks.
So Jeremiah is very talented. Tools galore. Very impactful player. This running back class is sneaky, very similar. Like I get the argument it's Jeremiah than the field. I and again this I'm gonna get called biased. I don't know if Jeremiah is more explosive than Devon Achan was at Texas A&M. I don't think he's the prospect that Saquon Barkley was. I don't think he's the prospect that Jahmyr Gibbs was. Uh, He's a very good player, and I do not want to shit on the guy. But again, this is those expectations versus reality. I think this is a guy who's plays at a very high level at his position, but I do not believe he is that guy that should be taken anywhere near the top 10 in their draft. He will be somebody's number one running back, but I think that should be late first, early second round. There's just better talent than him.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and say I kind of agree with you. That's where he should go. Unfortunately, there's going to be some team that I think that could definitely pick him up early second or late first or mid first. I'll even say as high as mid first. And the reason for that is he's a hot name. He was a Heisman finalist, right? The guy definitely brought it. We're talking, if we're going to talk about stat point, let's see. Jeremiah Love had 199 carries for 1,372 yards, 18 touchdowns, average 6.9. Here is my hot take. You ready for this, Mystic?
Ooh.
While I give it up to him, amazing, great. The guy can make it happen at any point. He does a lot of stuff. Great. I can go down his draft buzz. If you look at his draft buzz, what they say about him, I can tell you all the strengths and weaknesses and all that stuff. Great. How much of it is Jordan Love? Is my question, or Jeremiah Love? I'm sorry. How much of it is him? And the reason I say that, there's another Notre Dame running back that is in this draft. And his name is Jadarian Price. Jadarian Price, if you look at it, he had half as many yards, you would say, than Jeremiah Love. But he also had about half the amount of carries that Jeremiah Love had. Though he only had half amount of yards, half amount of carries, if you look at the rest of the statistics, it's pretty similar. They both averaged over 6 yards a carry, right? One had 18 touchdowns. The other one had 11 touchdowns. So you had almost 100 more carries. You had double the amount of yards, right? Because with that 100 carries, and you averaged about the same amount. Not, I want to say the same. One's about 6.9 yards. The other one's six yards a carry, right? And you had about half the amount of touchdowns. They're almost like the same running back, just in different ways. So it makes me wonder how much of his success is the running back and how much of the success is the offensive line that Notre Dame had. You know what I mean? So it just makes me wonder about that. Now, granted, I need to watch tape on Jadarian Price. I've seen Jeremiah Love. I know what I'm getting. I didn't really know about Jadarian Price until I started looking at running backs and looking at stats and stuff. So it makes me wonder. I got to do a deeper dive. So I'm not going to say that he's, not deserving, but I do think someone's going to go ahead and grab that running back just because he's, he is probably the best running back in this draft. But is he deserving? I don't know. I don't know if he's deserving of first round.
What drives me nuts?
Go ahead.
Jeremiah Love this year had 1,300 yards and 18 touchdowns, right? Or 17 touchdowns, something like that.
Yeah.
There's a running back, and I'll talk about him in a few minutes because he's one of my guys. He's projected to go in the 4th round. 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns. fourth round prospect.
I got one like that too.
I have a guy like that also. I'm
supposed to believe that's a first round running back, but the guy that I'm looking at, who's also a workhorse, who was given the majority of the carries, has over 700 carries in college, and similar stats over the last 2 years, is a fourth round prospect. I'm sorry, I don't see it.
I got a guy I'm about to talk about here in a minute that he may not have had as much success as Jeremiah Love did in one season, but looking at the overall career and what the potential is, I think it would be a better prospect for me if I'm building a team. I kind of like the idea of having this kind of guy better. But I'm gonna hand it back to Mystic to let him finish up on Jeremiah Love before I bring out my player. Go ahead, Mystic.
No, you're good. I just I feel what you guys are saying. I do. I think it just comes down to, depending on what I hear of the, what you guys found with these other guys, size wise and whatnot. I think it might just be his size, really. Obviously, the footwork. There's just some things that people say that probably flashes out to them. They're like, oh my goodness. But I think this goes to show that running backs overall, I think if you're looking in the right place, you can find all sorts of running backs that do what you need, coming into the league.
I kind of think that is the argument now. I think with most recent years, that is the argument, that you look at some of these running backs, and even the top running backs that are taken are not necessarily the best always.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it just depends on what you're looking for. In fact, that guy I brought up, Notre Dame's other running back, Jadarian Price.
Yep.
If you follow NFL Draft Buzz, I just use them as a standpoint. I read what they have to say, and then I read other websites and other information that's provided to kind of come up with my own assumptions, right? But they have him ranked as the number 2 running back prospect.
Oh, wow.
So, and they're both for Notre Dame. It's kind of that's what made me, brought my eye to him. I'm sitting here like, well, he got half the amount of carries, half the amount of productivity. That's why it makes me wonder, like, is it so much the player, or is there something else behind it? That's kind of why I asked, is he really worth that high of a pick? But no, he's definitely talented. Jeremiah Love, regardless of where he lands or who he goes with or where he's drafted, he's definitely talented. He's definitely deserving of being drafted. Don't get me wrong. I just personally don't think that, nor would he be my first pick at running back. I don't think he's deserving of being like a top 5. Like, that's where Draft Buzz has him. Top 5 prospect. I don't think he's a top 5 prospect. That's just where I'm at. And his rushing ability is amazing, right? He does have some other faults, but it's just a matter of opinion. That's where I'm at. Steve, do you have any other final thoughts on Jeremiah Love before we move on?
No, I just want to clarify. If he would have followed us in the second round, I'd pull the trigger. I do think he's a great player, and he will be somebody's premier back. I just wanted to make it clear that I do not believe he deserves to be a top 5 player.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't believe he's... I would argue that if he lands in the first round, for me, it has to be within the last 7 picks. Like, he's one of those running backs that's where he's going to go. But otherwise, he's a second rounder for me. That's where he's at. All right. Can I go next, Steve? I'm kind of, now that he brought up Jeremiah Love, I got to bring up my heavy hitter, because I think this is pretty much the best running back in this draft. One of the best, at least.
Go for it.
All right. My guy that I'm going to talk about, Jonah Coleman, running back out of Washington. A compact physical running back, stands about 5'9", estimated 228 pounds, who has produced consistently, and that's why I like him so much, consistently, both at Arizona and Washington, over 3,000-yard career, 3,000 yards with 37 total touchdowns, while averaging 5.5 yards per carry across his college career. In 2025 season alone, now this may not sound a lot, but you just think about like what else he can do. He's logged 156 carries for 758 yards, 15 rushing touchdowns, 4.9 yards per carry, while also contributing a receiving of over 300 yards, highlighting his 3-down potential, right? Coleman's strength center on his power running style, contact balance, vision, ball security. Guy, make sure he's always in the tape. If you watch him, right? If he gets in the open field, he may not have the most elite speed, but he definitely has the breakaway speed and burst of speed to be able to get himself going down the field very quickly. He's very, very fast in between the spaces, and he always seems to be falling forward. Very balanced running back, in my opinion. He also is an amazing receiver. Definitely keeps his eye on the ball, soft hands. As soon as he catches the ball, he's already moving forward before you even know it. Some of his weaknesses, though, people say he has that limited elite breakaway. Like I said, it's not necessarily elite speed, but he definitely has it. May project more as a physical chain mover than a home run hitter. I don't know about that. I'm watching his tape. He definitely has some home run hitting ability. Some of his NFL comparisons, they say, are C.J. Anderson, James Robinson, even Doug Martin, who backs that were known for their toughness, balance, and efficient interior rushing. So definitely check him out. In regards to his NFL draft grade, Jonah Coleman projects to be a mid-round NFL draft prospect, roughly day 2, maybe day 3. But I'm going to say, for me, he's going to be at least at the very bottom, a 3rd-round draft pick. That, for me, is a day 2 solid guy whose ceiling is that of a physical starting running back in a committee system. So even in a system that we like to run as a Miami Dolphin, having that committee, he would fit very well. And that is a compact build, strong contact balance, dependable between the tackles, running style. At his best, he can be a tone setter who thrives in the gap or inside zone schemes. A lot of fitment standpoint, a lot of people say that places like Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, or even San Francisco would be an amazing landing spot for him. Check him out, Jonah Coleman, running back out of Washington.
Man, it's hard to argue with y'all, Lee. It's hard to argue. You know, this guy, man. So, how about that only lost 1 fumble and 396 career touches?
Ball security, man. Ball security. I love it.
Take that all day long. Reliable pass catcher. People say he never usually goes down on the first contact. We got people saying, you know, to your point, you know, you had C.J. Anderson and all that. I see other people saying, you know, the bowling ball backs such as Maurice Jones-Drew, Brian Robinson Jr. and David Montgomery. So,
yes, yeah.
Again, high floor production running back, high football IQ, obsession for ball security. That's the dude. That's the guy that you want. Like, if you're going to rebuild a team, you need a guy who's just going to, you know, you need to get some yards, get some dirty work during your game. You hand that dude the rock, you say, take care of it. That's awesome. Good find.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah. So it's going to sound like I'm saying a negative, but it's not. It's to make an emphasis on something. Though he doesn't have the top end speed, right? He's going to be a 4.5 guy. His burst is beautiful. His ability to burst out of a tackle, his ability to spin and pinball, as they say, through the arms of tacklers is very nice. He's going to make a wonderful number 2 short yardage rotational back for the middle downs, like second down back, when you really just want to send somebody up the middle and just lay a hit into somebody. This guy is really nice for that. His low center of gravity helps with a lot of that. Being 5'9" and 220, 230 ish, like he's just a small, compact little I don't even know what to call them. Little like roly poly oly, little roly poly in the
Yeah.
middle. Gotta love it. I love those types of backs.
I just want to point this out. I think, and this is a hot take, that's more related to the Miami Dolphins. You know, that's our team. I will say that if you watch his catching ability, especially as a receiver, he's very good. Soft hands, really good out of the backfield, even intermediate throws. I've even seen him catch balls downfield, like the beyond the intermediate. You know what I'm talking about? I think that's his superpower, but that's also not the hot take I have. The hot take, he's only an inch taller than Devon Achane. And even though he doesn't have Devon Achane speed, he does remind me of some of the, like watching his tape, he does a lot of things that Devon Achane does, even when he's not the main running back, right?
I hate
And
you.
they have him in the receiving game or whatever. And I want to say he's a poor man's Devon Achane for those type of abilities. Not so much that he has the speed, because definitely he may not have the top end elite speed. His quickness and burst breakaway, I think his breakaway is very elite in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But he looks fast on tape, even though it may not be there. So
I
that's
hate
my
you.
thought.
That was my immediate thought watching him. But the 4.5 speed made me not want to say it and come off sounding goofy.
Yeah.
I hate that you said it because that was my thought. He
Yeah.
reminded me of when I was watching Achan at A&M. His ability to find lanes that aren't there, and then when the first tackle comes to him and he
Yeah.
hits him with that like shoulder spin.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I agree with you 100%, Steve. Like, it's definitely, I saw the tendencies. I was like, he may not be as fast, but he does a lot of things just like he does. And I like it. I definitely take a hit on it. Do understand the 4.5, though, that's an estimate. We don't know. In the combine, who knows? Maybe he's faster than 4.5. We just don't know yet. So when we have the official, then we can put a stamp on it. But I like what I see so far. So that was my guy, Steve. Unless you had anything more to say about him, that was my home run hitter for out of my three guys.
I do not.
All right, Steve, you're up. Who's your guy?
So I'm gonna mention two at the same time because one of them I wanted to talk about, but he's not going to be doing anything during the combine.
Okay.
Unfortunately, during the Senior Bowl, he got hurt. So I'm gonna get him now. Nick Singleton out of Penn State. He is my Devon Achane of this draft. Everybody was huge on Bijan Robinson. Everybody was huge on Jahmyr Gibbs. I banged the table for Devon Achane. I'm telling you, whoever takes Nick Singleton in this draft is getting an absolute steal. The question is, will he stay healthy? This man hit 23 miles an hour in college. He is a speed demon at 6 foot, 220 pounds. He is going to carry the load on any team he plays on. And he's got a stiff arm that it's like hitting somebody with a lance. And he's got long arms. Remember we were talking about Emmanuel Warren, the safety? They have almost the same length arms, 32 inches as a running back. So his stiff arm is going to be nasty against uh, especially corners and safeties with shorter arms. I wish we could have seen him at the combine. Unfortunately, like I said, he has a torn. Where is it? I forget what it was called. It's a complicated word, but he got hurt during the Senior Bowl. However, the guy I'm actually going to talk about is his tag team partner, Katron Allen, the guy I just hinted at earlier. 5'11", 217. I think you could put 5 pounds on him without any worry and concern to get him up to 225. 1,300 yards rushing. He carried the bulk of the carries for Penn State. 15 touchdowns. That's 2 years in a row he's had over 1,000 yards rushing and nobody talks about him. He's not going to have the pull away speed, but he has a good initial burst. He actually looks faster on tape than he actually will probably run in a 40. It's just once he gets about 20 yards down the field, you see that speed starting to really wane hard. My concern with him is after he gets about 18 carries, that speed even more so starts to wane. He gets gassed. So some further conditioning might be able to fix some of that at the next level. But you're talking about a guy who's probably going to be a 4th round pick. He's going to be like the Jalen Wrights of this draft, guys that go in the middle rounds, and it's either going to be a hit or it's going to be a miss. But I love the comp that Draft Buzz has for him, Damian Pierce out of Florida when he came out of Florida. That's a great comparison.
That's for his buddy Allen, right? That's Allen has that. Okay.
Katron Allen. Yeah, Nick Singleton, you'll like this one. He was compared to Jukins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but I wanted to mention Singleton because I'm going to have an extra offensive lineman to make up for Singleton. But I'm sad because he's my guy at running back in this class.
Yeah, I do have some things to say about Singleton. Definitely a strong running back. He was one of the main weapons that Penn State had prior to the season and going into this last season. I have to do a deeper dive into his injury history, though the more significant one I want to say is the broken foot. I know he had like thumb injuries and a lot of other minor nagging injuries over the past season. So I'll have to look into that. So I don't want to call him injury prone yet, but that was one of my main concerns. I'll tell you this. He definitely possesses impressive contact balance that allows him to run through arm tackles. And he basically what I'm saying is that he's harder to tackle than a standard, regular prototypical running back. And when he's healthy, he's on it. So I definitely love the prospect when it comes to Nickel Singleton. I just have to look into his injuries. Those are my only issues with him. I do definitely believe that he was probably going to be anywhere between a late 2nd and 3rd round pick. That's kind of where I thought he would land. His partner in crime, Allen, I don't know much about. I do have to do a deeper dive, so I can't really comment on him. But I do know Singleton. Being an Ohio State fan, I had to watch him, throughout the years. So definitely a great prospect to have. Hopefully he can come back healthy and show what he really has. So that's what I got to say. What do you got to say, Misty?
I don't know much about the guys. Honestly, they're Big Ten guys. That's obviously the most I probably know. I mean, it's got their stats. I feel like Singleton, is probably has maybe your better hands. It looks like he had better receiving numbers for sure. The other guy definitely has some good receiving numbers, but I feel like Singleton is the better, all around back when it comes to receiving, maybe softer hands, whatever, if you will. But I mean, yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for, again, the value of the running back has changed so much over the course of just the last, 5 years. There's a lot of these guys that, again, they're very productive running backs that if you really look into these classes, you'll find the guys that will turn into, some of those household names because they get the dirty work done for you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
My only last nugget about Katron Allen, and it's the funniest thing about him. I didn't even know this. I found this looking stuff up about him. His nickname is Fat Man.
That is actually very funny.
Hilarious.
Yep. Very, very funny. Um, do I have anything else? I don't have anything else on either player. Who wants to go next? Do you want to go next, Mystic, or
We'll continue the rotation, right?
whatever you want to do? Whatever rotation.
So I got another. This guy could be another early round. I think a late, maybe second, third round type of guy. 5'11", 200. Emmett Johnson out of Nebraska. Last season had 251 carries for 1,451 yards, 12 touchdowns, and a 5.8 carry or average. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, definitely kind of surprised me for sure. I mean, I watched Nebraska obviously at times when they play Iowa. I don't think too much about it, but I looked more into it, and this dude was productive for kind of an off year for Nebraska, if you will. You know, they had the whole Dylan Raiola thing and him not wanting to play, and just the up down stuff, right? And this dude had what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He had 8 100-yard games and actually closed the season on 5 100-yard games. In the last game of the season, he played against Iowa. They lost, but the kid still ran for 217 yards. So, very, very productive young man. From what I can tell, he's like a shift gear kind of runner. Definitely has that twitchy, lateral cut ability, and that's what people like about him. Lead footwork, patience, soft hands. People were talking about this kid having a lot of resemblances at times of James Cook. So very, very interesting prospect to pay attention to. But yeah, you can tell that when they ramped up his usage, the more he got the ball, the better he got at Nebraska.
What do you got, Steve?
He was Mr. Football coming out of high school. I don't know if y'all know that or not. His senior year of high school, he ran for 2,500 yards and 42 touchdowns. That kid is talent. He also played on defense, racking up 85 tackles, 13 for loss as a senior in high school. That kid has a lot of talent. He's a good receiver. He's a good running back. He has surprising speed. I need him to put a little weight. 5'11", 200.
Yep.
Yeah, 5'11", 200 pounds.
Mm.
So a little weight, I think, could do him some good, but I'm not terribly worried about it. He's I like him. I think he's like number 4 or 5. 4 or 5.
Yeah, I know he's in the top 5 for most people, I believe, if I saw that.
Yeah, something like that. Number 4 or 5, I think, on my list. I'd have to go look at my list I was working up. If not, he's definitely in the top 10 of guys for me. The kid's he's very good. I like him.
Yeah, I've read that he's kind of one of those running backs that can fit in various different scheme fits. Like, he's versatile, right? He can be in a inside zone, outside zone, wide zone scheme. He can be in a duo zone scheme. It's just he can fit a lot of different areas very well and be exceptional. I like the prospect. He is. I do agree. I do think he's a little bit lighter side. I like my running backs to be about 220 pounds, somewhere around there. That's kind of where especially with how tall he is. You know what I'm saying? Based on his height.
For sure.
So, but not a bad prospect. And I do think he is around the 4th or 5th best running back. Any other thoughts before we move on to my guy?
I think we're good. What you got?
All right. So this guy is also a home run, in my opinion. He's a home run. This guy out of Arkansas, Mike Washington Jr. All right. Mike Washington Jr., 6'2", very tall running back compared to some of my the other guy I brought up, Coleman. 228 pounds, senior running back who emerged as one of the most productive backs in 2025, rushing 167 times for 1,070 yards and 8 touchdowns, about 6.4 yards per carry, while also chipping in 28 receptions for 226 yards and a score for the Razorbacks. His 2025 campaign marked his first 1,000-yard season, and he finished his college career with nearly 3,000 scrimmage yards, 26 touchdowns prior to Arkansas. Okay. So strengths, Washington blends size, speed, and physicality, presents a rare combination of power and open field juice. This guy gets in the open field, boy, he's going to blaze past you. Don't give this guy the open field. Doesn't matter what zone scheme, whatever you're trying to run, whatever, don't give this guy the open field. He can press gaps decisively, lower his shoulder, consistently gain yardage after contact, and has shown his ability to hit home run speed once he reaches the second level. So second level open field, he's gone. That's the reality. His vision, decisiveness between the tackles, contact balance allow him to find creases and keep drives alive, while he's receiving production and improving pass blocking makes him a 3-down capable running back. Let me tell you, you're going to see something consistent with the running backs I talk about. All of them are very good pass catchers. They definitely can catch the ball. There was times watching this guy's tape when they threw down the field to him, I thought he was a receiver. I didn't even know he was a running back at one point. That's the kind of size he has and kind of build. They also note that he handles blitz pickup and catching the ball naturally out of the backfield. Very good, no problem, which definitely transitions to the pro scheme, like I mentioned. Some weaknesses to point out: inconsistent leg drive. I don't know if I agree with that. Occasionally, ball security can be an issue. You got to hold on to the ball. And that's why I think he's not one of the top prospects. I think he's like number 8 or 9, somewhere around there. Basically, because he transferred multiple times from Buffalo, New Mexico State, and then to Arkansas, some may question his system continuity and being able to fit in different schemes. I don't really hold it to him against that, to be honest. I personally think if you go somewhere and it's not a good fit, then it's okay if you transfer. I don't like to see multiple transfers like he did. Okay, I give you that. This is his 3rd team, but I want to know what the reason behind the other 2 are. I'd have to really look at that to really see if I'm going to hold it against him, to be honest. Because I do think players do have a right to transfer under certain circumstances. Just want to point that out. As a player, I don't want to hold that against him. But also you could say that transferring to different schemes is good because now he has experience in different types of running schemes, right? Different type of teams. So he has the experience to be able to adapt, I would say. So that's also a good thing. To break down his NFL comparisons, he draws comparisons to a physical, versatile back with traits similar to the late Latavius Murray. Late career of Latavius Murray, people say. Some other names to look at: Niall Davis, especially with his production and bursts. And this one was very interesting, and I agree with it. If you look at his downhill decisiveness running and his running style, when you watch him run, he runs like he's standing up straight. Adrian Peterson, yes, they compared to this guy as an Adrian Peterson because of his downhill runnings and his ideal situations through which with his I'm sorry, this may sound bad, but with his situations with less elite speed, the way he runs, they say he can be as productive as Adrian Peterson. That's what people say. Now, where does he project? They have him in the 4th round, but he could be as high as a day 2 kind of guy. I think most of these running backs are going to be day 2. It could potentially be day 2, I should say. And they say anywhere between day 2 and day 3, mid-round grade, reflective of a back who can contribute early, but isn't viewed as a slam dunk first-round bell cow. I don't think he's a slam dunk bell cow like they said. His ceiling, he can definitely be a 3-down running back starter, capable of controlling the middle of the field, producing consistent 800 plus yard seasons. I think that's what we all kind of want. We're hoping to get at least with any of these running backs, to be honest. But being the fact that he has the ability to pick up the blitz very well, he's, he has in different schemes can be very bring value, physicality, versatility. Especially with his speed game and the touchdown ability, play breaking ability. I think he can be a very, very well contributor to any scheme, to be honest. At his floor, he's a rotational back who can help out with short yardage, goal line, and 2-back systems, to be honest. A lot of people say that he could fit in systems very similar to what they did in Dallas with Ezekiel Elliott early in the career, or Aaron Jones thrive without needing elite pure speed, that kind of a scheme that Aaron Jones had. Overall, they definitely think he's going to be a regular 3-down starting running back. What do you guys think? Mike Washington. Imagine with the Dolphins, we would have Washington, and Washington, right? Pretty awesome.
So,
World War III.
You're hilarious. 3 W's. Oh.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about the guy prior to what you just told me, so I just kind of was looking at stats and looking at his season, just kind of see what it looked like. And I mean, just looking at his stats this year, in my opinion, the dude thrived when he played the best talent and he had his best games.
Yeah, that was interesting too. I forgot to mention that, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's what instantly jumps off the tape at me. He played Old Miss. Yeah, they held him to 65 yards rushing, but he still had 53 yards receiving, so went over 100 all-purpose with 2 touchdowns. You got games like that where people stop you on one side, you affect it on the other side. Then you have him going for over 100 versus Tennessee. He went over 100 versus Texas A&M, went for 147 with a 9.2 average. Like, this guy, he went for over 100 against Texas late in the season. Like, it's, man, when the talent when the level of play steps up, he steps up and meets it. I love to see guys like that. This is definitely someone I'll circle and I'll be watching through the process.
Oh yeah, 100%. And one thing you could look at those teams, and this is kind of to drive your point home. If people didn't understand what we meant about the competition, those teams that you mentioned, one thing they have all in common: tough defenses. Those guys are some of the best defenses, right? And he was able to do it against those teams. I give it up to him. What do you think, Steve? What are your thoughts on this game?
I was trying to pull up the exact numbers, but Mystic kind of stole my thunder. You know where 3 of his best games were against this year?
Tennessee, Texas A&M, and I guess you could debate what Mississippi State and that Ole Miss game, right?
Yep. And then also Ohio State, Alabama, and Oregon. Like, these are the teams he shows up against. Like, these are those guys that you get late. I don't know if he'll ever be a number 1 because he's never had more than 185 carries in a season. But he's your change of pace back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the dude's fumbled 5 balls and 500 carries. Like, that's pretty fucking good.
I'll take.
So, like, I like the kid. He's got good lateral movement, quick feet. He's not afraid to make contact. You can run him inside and outside. He's got enough speed to do both. Maybe he loses that speed once he hits the open field at times. But yeah, he's a solid running back.
Can I add
And that's
another
what a lot
point
of
here?
these guys are.
Sorry. I thought you were talking, we're talking stats here. One thing I did notice when the guy gets over 150 carries, he gets you at least 7 touchdowns. As he showed that he had 150 and 22 with Buffalo and had 7. He had 157 at New Mexico State, had 8. Had 167 in Arkansas, had 8. So you get him over 150 touches, he'll get you a couple tutties.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Any other final thoughts on Mike Washington before we move on to Steve, his last person? I think he has.
Yeah.
All right. My late round gem, he popped off during the college playoffs. Everybody was talking about Roman Hemby for Indiana, but didn't nobody want to give Kalen Black the love. This kid runs with physicality. Give me the physicality. He is downhill and isn't afraid to lay a shoulder. That first guy tackling, you better have 2 of them or he's breaking it. He has the speed, he has the momentum, and he's shifty. Unfortunately, he's a little bit on the smaller side as a back, but as a number 2 in somebody's offense, he's going to be great.
Real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you, Steve. And I love the love that you're giving to Kellen Black because I wanted to pick him first. Because I do agree with what you're going to say about him. Is he invited to the combine?
I thought he was. Was he not?
I don't think he's in the draft.
Yeah, he's in the draft because he was at the East West Shrine Bowl.
Give me a second here. It's what's his first name? What's Black's first name?
Kalen Black.
Caleb, CLAB?
CAELON.
Kalen. Okay. K is in kite. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me look here. Black at Combine. One second here. No, he wasn't. He was snubbed.
Okay.
But go ahead, talk about him because I do think he's definitely a draftable prospect.
Draftable player,
and definitely deserving to be at the combine. I think that was one of the biggest snubs. But go ahead, definitely.
Well, that makes me sad.
It makes you sad too, to be honest.
We should. And it makes me even sadder because I had actually I had my wrong page up when I was talking about your running back. It was him who showed up during the games at Alabama, Ohio State, and Oregon during the college playoff run.
Okay, fair enough. I was wondering where you got that from. That's why.
Yeah. I was looking at the wrong page, so that is on me. I apologize, people. Yeah, like this kid he was a rotational back for them, but sometimes I swear he just popped off more than Roman Hemby for me. And I do like Roman Hemby. Like I think he's a good running back, solid. But like you felt different when he got on the field. He's patient. He has a nice jump cut. He doesn't. I don't know how to explain it. He doesn't let his not instincts. He doesn't let his brain tell him where he needs to go. He lets the flow of the game and how his feet move tell him where to go. Like he'll find gaps that you're like, oh, hey, look, I didn't see that. You'll be watching the film and you'll see him find a spot between 2 guys. That's just like, where did you see? How did you know that was coming? Like that was different. So I like him. His size is a little bit of a question. Do I think he can be somebody's number 1 back? Not really, but he would be a lovely change of pace back.
You're muted, my guy.
I'm sitting here talking to myself. I agree with you completely, Steve. The 2020 5 season alone, he had what, like 1,000, over 1,000 yards, I want to say. I think it was 10 touchdowns. He averaged 5.6 yards per carry and ranked 4th in the Big Ten overall. He also excelled in the biggest stages, like you said. In 3 college football playoff games, he averaged 241 yards rushing, or I'm sorry, he recorded 241 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns across 3 games, right? He's definitely a force to be reckoned with. I think it was the biggest snub in the combine, to be honest, compared to some of these other running backs that they decided to go with. I hope he definitely has some private interviews and shows out at his pro day, because I honestly think this kid is deserving. He's the guy that stood out, not just in the Ohio State game, not just in the Alabama game, not just in the national championship game, but overall he stood out. He stood out all season long. So I'm giving it to him. I think they made a mistake not inviting him. That's where I'm at. What do you say, Mystic?
Yeah, I think it's crazy that the dude didn't get at least an invite to the combine. Definitely a snub for sure. Like, that's just wild. The dude definitely, again, like you said, in the playoffs, you had, I don't want to say a handful, but we'll say more than a handful of guys who stood out in the biggest games of the college season. And there were times when, I mean, Hemby, he had his moments, but there were times when he got stopped. They put this kid in, and he's like, "Hey, let me run through a couple guys and get some momentum back." Like, it's just one of those key rotational piece. If you have a running back by committee situation, you got two reliable guys or just one reliable guy. You need a second to kind of off pace, change some things up. This is the dude for you. They're saying 5 to 7th round. Man, I really hate to see the kid not hit the combine. I hope the pro day they put something together for him. Pro day for Indiana, it looks like on April 1st. I'm excited to watch that for him. I think that he could easily be a 4th to 5th round type of guy. Again, the physicality alone, the lack of having any fumbles in 2025, having over 1,000 yards rushing, that's what you want. It's consistency.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to talk about his counterpart next, because that's who I picked. I didn't see Black. Otherwise, I would have picked Black. No offense, Steve, but I would have taken that player. But
I'm picking the right players that y'all want to take them.
you pick them good, let me tell you. But I want to say, arguably, there was times, especially during the playoffs, that Black was better than the guy I'm going to talk about, right? And I felt like overall he was not just a better player, he was a tone setter, right? He was setting the example and getting the job done. He's the type of guy that, hey, I need that 1 yard. He's going to get you that 1 yard, right? He's that type of guy. And I'm surprised they didn't invite him to the combine. I really am. So I hope the best for him. So, all right. I guess I'm going to go on to my last. Do you have any more people, Steve, or was that your last one?
That was my last running back.
Okay, Mystic, how many more running backs do you have?
I got one more.
Okay, I'm going to go with my last one, and then you can go. Since we just talked about Black, I'm going to go first because I have his counterpart. The next person we're going to talk about is Indiana running back. And let me get to my notes here. Here we go. Indiana running back Roman Hemby. Right? Roman Hemby is a well-rounded Big Ten running back. He stands about 6 foot, 208 pounds, who transferred from Maryland to Indiana and produced a strong 2025 season with 230 carries for 1,120 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns, which averaged about 4.9 yards per carry, while continuing to contribute as a receiver. Again, I have a theme with my running backs. My running backs are not just good running backs, they are good receivers. That was my theme. I love the versatility to be able to catch the ball. out of the backfield with all three of these guys. Part of his career that include 44,700 all-purpose yards, 3,400 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving across multiple seasons. He's widely viewed as a smooth one-cut runner with good vision, patience, quick feet, and receiving ability. I think his receiving ability is underrated. I think it is definitely at a very high level. Thriving, especially in zone schemes where he can read blocks, accelerate through creases. One of his biggest strengths is versatility. He's considered one of the better receiving backs in this draft and can line up on screens, checkdowns, or route concepts, adding third down value. His weakness includes lack of elite breakaway speed. I think his breakaway speed is definitely high. It's one of his better strengths, to be honest. Limited top tier explosiveness. I disagree. And the reason I disagree, don't watch his Indiana tape. Even though he amassed over 230 carries, over 1,100 yards at Indiana, go watch his Maryland tape. I was like, holy shit. How did I miss this running back out of Maryland? Because at Maryland, I think Hemby was twice the better running back than he was at Indiana. Not saying that he had the same amount of yards. That's not what I'm saying. But his big play ability or home run hitting ability, I think showed out at Maryland on the Maryland tape more so than what I saw on the Indiana tape. That's what I'm going to say. He draws comparisons to Antonio Gibson, Naheem Hines, which is a less explosive version of him. I think Naheem Hines is a good running back, but I think this guy is better, faster version. There's some other running backs that they compare him to. They say he's going to be a late day 3 draft grade. I could see that. Or even a priority free agent projection. I don't know about that. I think he's definitely draftable, especially if they look at his Maryland tape. I think it's night and day versus Indiana. At his ceiling, he develops into a reliable committee back or a third down specialist. I could see that contributing 500 to 800 yards from scrimmage. Definitely agree. His floor is he's a depth running back and special team contributor. They don't really give him a lot of credit, but one thing I will say is that he's a sneaky running back. He's good. Doesn't necessarily have the top end elite speed that you see from like Devon Achane being a 4.3 kind of guy. But what you do see is that in between the hash marks, or in certain gaps, he makes up for it with his quickness. He's harder to take down. Open field, he's going to home run hit every time. His catching ability, like I said, that's where his superpower is. He is a much better receiver than a lot of these running backs. I want to say he's top 3 at the receiving ability for me at these running backs. Overall, I think he fits a San Francisco or Miami style of running game. That's if we're keeping the same style. And, running back by committee, I think he would be a good fit. Definitely check out Roman Hemby. I think he's definitely a good pickup for a team looking for a running back, especially teams that either running back by committee or run some of these scheme fits like inside zone or wide zone schemes, to be honest. What do you guys think?
I like Hemby. I like the guy. Again, really good prospect from Maryland. To your point, didn't quite get the touches that he got in the 1 year at Indiana at Maryland.
Yeah.
You see that one season, I believe in 22, he had 10 touchdowns and like a north of 5 yards per carry.
Mm-hmm.
So dude definitely shows you that he can be a playmaker if you need him to be. Looks like he's also on the consistency. He's going to be there health-wise. That's another thing you want to see in these guys. Are they going to be there? Are they, question mark injury? Like all that stuff's going to weigh in on where they fall. And it looks like the dude can be there. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a, late day 2, early day 3 type of guy, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of where I think he'll end up. Maybe I don't think he'll be go undrafted though. I think someone will draft him ultimately. What do you think, Steve? Do you have any thoughts?
You know why I think he'll be drafted?
Because Black wasn't at the combine. Is that why?
No, because he's the youngest running back of this class.
He's the youngest. I didn't even know that.
He's 21 years old. Everyone else is 22 or 23. He is the youngest running back in this class, which means he can still put on a little bit of weight and a little size. Not much. I don't think he'll get much bigger. Yeah, man, like this, it's there. He honestly, and don't be surprised if he loses. He might come in a little lighter in the draft. He might hit that 4.39. I think he's gonna push for it. If he does, he's gonna shoot up that. He's gonna
I mean,
shoot.
he's already estimated at being a 4.4 guy, so it's very possible.
I think he's faster than a 4.4, but we'll see. We'll see.
See, that's why I think he definitely has the home run ability. And that's the other thing. You go look at the Maryland tape versus the Indiana tape. I would argue he looks faster at Maryland than he does at Indiana.
And I would also say the one thing I do also like about him is he doesn't have a lot of wear and tear. He's got fresh young legs. That means a lot. Like you would be surprised, but it means a lot. He's a receiver. He can be a solid. I don't know. Again, it's another one of those guys. I don't know if he'll ever be somebody's number one back. He might as he gets older, but I could see him being used like Alvin Kamara. I think it's a very fair comparison of usage.
Tony's putting out the eyes at you for saying he's a 4.39 guy. Hey, it's possible. They already have him estimated at 4.4, so 4.4 flat. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. It'll be very interesting where he ends up, though. Very, very interesting. Mystic, you have one more guy to talk about?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Let's see what he got.
So, man, literally the difference, or I guess I wouldn't say the difference. The question about this young man is, can he stay healthy? You know, kind of going off what I was just talking about, right?
Yeah.
So he was definitely a prize transfer coming into 25, and he literally just couldn't stay on the field. 5'11", 208, Jaden Ott out of Oklahoma. So dude is projected to have a 4.4 top end speed, dual threat running back. What I think I saw 4 drops and 98 career receptions. So good hands when it comes to being a receiving back. Again, the question is he going to get back to being healthy? Because he had 21 carries for 68 yards last season. Everyone thought transferring out of Cal, he was going to be the dude. He had great productions in the sense of overall, the dude has what about 3,400 all-purpose yards in his college career. He transferred out of Cal after he kind of had a down year, 116 for 385 yards. But the year before that, he had 245 for 1,300. He had 12 touchdowns that same season. 26 catches for 196 yards and 2 touchdowns. So again, dual threat guy. Looks like he had more receiving. He had a bigger impact receiving in 24 than he did running the ball, which is crazy. But yeah, he literally couldn't stay on the field last year. Had some ankle issue that literally messed with him all season. You didn't really see anything from the kid. People are saying basically turned in for the biggest steal to the biggest bust when it came to transfer in the 25. So that's kind of the question. He's a polarizing prospect because you don't know if he's going to get this injury thing figured out. Like if he gets this injury thing figured out, it's what you want. Elite vision, big play potential, can be a runner and a receiver. People see shades of Jamal Charles from the guy. Like, really great prospect. Can he take care of his body? And you're muted again.
I was passing it off to Steve.
So, for us being who we are, my concern is that he's a Raheem Mostert. If you get what I mean. Like
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
always something. I don't know. I don't know if he'll ever quite get that full year back under his belt. We'll see. He man, he's got a lot of talent. Again, like this kid's faster than he's perceived to be. His burst out of his stance is really good. He's got really good vision. He plays well with uh while in muddied pockets, like moving his way through. He could work on his pad level, which would be nice. I think he needs to gain a little weight. But from a runner to his ability to catch the ball, like I like him. He's got a lot. He just man, that kid, he's got to find some health and he's got to stay healthy.
I that's kind of my issue primarily, Steve, is with his injuries. I'm also reading reports, and this is what I was trying to find where I found it, but I guess on what is it, 24/7 Sports, they reported that there was some communication issues regarding his treatment to deal with the 2024 injuries, because the 2024 injuries I think were the worst that he said that he was ever dealing with. So they could be a lot worse than what we know. I know he had the shoulder issue, the grade 3 ankle sprain, and some other injuries. We talked about the running back that I want to say, who was it that just had him up? That Steve had up, Steve's last guy. I want to say that guy had a lot more carries and a lot more games that he played. I want to say
Black.
Yeah, I want to say he did. I think he did. Hemby, I know, played a lot more games. He played 54 games versus what? What does Ott have? I want to say he has like 40 something, right?
Something like that.
Let me find him real quick. I can tell you. Here it is. He had played 41 games with 1,707 snaps. Hemby played 54 games with over 2,100 snaps. Injuries. I think he has the talent when he's healthy. I just think injuries are his biggest issue, and that's what hurts him. So that's what I have to say.
All right.
Well, I think we're good. I think we can transition to the next group.
All right.
Someone else. We can start the rotation somewhere else. Each group if we want.
Okay, sounds great. My next thing I want to talk about here, the next group. Before we get into it, make sure that you hit the like button. If you're brand new to our show, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. We do this every Tuesday, sometimes more than just Tuesdays. Sometimes we do two episodes a week. It's very possible, depending on what's going on. But definitely check out some of our content, some of our older content. There's a lot of good stuff. You can also see day 1 and day 2 of the Combine before this show as well. You can see that if you missed it. But we're going to get into the wide receiver room, right? Wide receivers. You know what? I'll start first if you guys don't mind.
Sounds good, man.
All right. So wide receivers, and I know when we started talking about the Combine, we talked about the running backs. I started with a running back out of University of Washington. Well, I'll start my wide receivers with a wide receiver from the University of Washington, Denzel. And let me make sure I have the right guy up to be sure. Yes, it is. Denzel Boston, wide receiver out of Washington. He's 6'4", 209 to 210 pounds estimate, who emerged as one of the top targets for University of Washington. He had 62 receptions for 881 yards, 11 touchdowns in 2025. He averaged 14.2 yards per catch. Right? That's 14 and a half yards per catch almost. After leading the team in receiving the previous season as well. So it's not just a one-hit wonder. It's the past 2 seasons. Over his college career, he totaled of over 132 catches for over 1,700 plus yards and 20 plus touchdowns, establishing himself as a reliable red zone and possession threat. Boston's biggest strengths are his size, catch radius, contested catch ability, strong hands, and physical play style. Yes, a lot of his watching his tape, a lot of his tape, you'll see him in catching some very contested catches. He eats along the sidelines. I want to say I've seen him in double coverage, triple coverage, and still come away with the ball. What else can I say about him? They say that he uses his frame very well, tracks the ball effectively, and can win in traffic while providing blocking value on the perimeter. However, weaknesses also include limited elite burst. I definitely agree with this. He's not the fastest guy, but he's the fastest, in the spaces. And he gets with his route running, he gets where he needs to be to catch the ball. What else have they said to him about him? And he has modest yards after catch explosiveness. Okay, I kind of agree with that. I think overall, when he uses his body correctly, he goes up and gets those hard to catch balls very easily. Statistically, he draws comparison to bigger possession receivers such as Mike Williams, Alan Lazard, or T. Higgins type players. He does kind of remind me of T. Higgins. Any type of wideout that values their size, reliability, and can be a definite producer in the red zone. For his NFL draft grade breakdown, I say he is going to be a day 2 NFL projection. I definitely think he could be an early day 2 receiver or borderline wide. He can be a wide receiver 2 for sure, but borderline wide receiver 1 who becomes a quarterback trusted contested catch target. So basically, he would become a wide receiver 1 when your quarterback, he's your go-to guy for the quarterback essentially. His floor is he's a rotational possession receiver or situational red zone target because of his separation issues. To be honest, I think because he's such a good route runner, I don't think he has an issue, finding spaces or finding that separation in those senses. Yes, going deep down the field, man on man, I guess he would have issues there. But if you find up some easy in and out routes for him, I know he can get in the open space. What else? Scheme fit. He projects best in offenses that value bigger boundary receivers, West Coast or play action systems, Buffalo, San Francisco, or Pittsburgh type frameworks. When routes, timing, physical blocking, and contested catches are emphasized over pure speed. So that's where he's going to eat the most. Overall, I think this guy's really great talent. Like I said, his contested catches jumps off at you because a lot of his tape, you see him making these hard catches. And he has very strong hands, and he's a very big, tall receiver. I think he can definitely use his body. What do you guys think? Denzel Boston.
I think that you're potentially talking about the future wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins because, our GM did talk about getting, some more size.
Hold that thought. I don't know if he's the best for us.
No, I
like Mike Williams when he's healthy, and I like, T. Higgins and stuff. But there's another guy that I have that I think would be a better fit, which I'll talk about. But go ahead, continue.
No, I just wanted to throw some things that just kind of be funny about it. No, I like what I'm hearing. Again, just kind of to reinforce some things you're saying, it looks like 70%. I can't even talk. 77%. There we go. I talked about it. There we go. I said it. God, dude. Getting kind of tired, not gonna lie to you. 77% of his catches last year were contested catches. So the dude, you're giving those 50-50 balls, you give him a chance, you're coming down, what, 3 out of 4 times? So I'm loving it. Huge catch radius, high level run blocking. What was something else I saw in here? I saw people giving him the Puka Nakua comparison, prototypical X receiver, plug and play type of thing. Like there's a lot of upside to this guy.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like, again, the biggest thing that people are concerned about is just that top end speed, and occasionally struggles with press coverage. So again, I think you can fix the press coverage thing, good coaching, this and that, top end speed, you get those more crisp route running, you can get the separation you need, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. What do you think, Steve? Steve, you're muted. We can't hear you.
It is.
Hey, there.
Mystic stole my thunder. I disagree with you, Ollie. This is who the Dolphins need on their roster. This is the wide receiver we have been asking for. Run to the podium. Unfortunately, he won't be there because of Jordan Tyson's injury. And from all intents and reports I saw, Jordan Tyson will not be practicing at the combine. He will be there, but he will not be performing. Denzel Boston's about to show you what hands look like. You know what I don't care about with top end speed? When you have a Mike Evans on the board. Now, will he be as good as Mike Evans? That's not what I'm saying. But the type of player he is. This is my wide receiver number 3 on my entire board. Number 3. I like him more than Cardell Tate. That might be a hot take. I like him because he's more healthier than Jordan Tyson, and he has the frame and hands that Malachi Lemon does not have, or Makai Lemon does not have. He's my number 3, and I would run to the podium. What scares me is I think him or Jordan Tyson's going to be a Buffalo Bill. He is what they were looking for when the Bills took the kid out of Florida last year or the year before. The one that everybody. What was it?
Keon Coleman.
Keon Coleman. Thank you. This is who they were looking for. I love this kid. That's all I can say. I'm biased. I love this kid.
It's funny you say that because I see. I was just reading up more about him, and I found someone who actually has comparisons of him to Keon Coleman.
Except he can run routes, and he's faster than Keon Coleman.
I love what you have to say, Steve. I agree with you. He's definitely a player I'm considering for the Miami Dolphins. I am going to be talking about the other receiver that you mentioned. I am going to talk about him, even though I know he's injured right now. I get that. But there's one other guy that when I watch the tape and I think about situations we get ourselves in, I just want to talk about him first. And it's going to be a tough decision between him and this one other guy. But I'll wait till we get to my other 2 guys before I bring that up. But I do agree, he is one of the better receivers in this draft. Carnell, and it's not Carnell Tate, by the way. No, it's not. I don't have Carnell Tate. I'm not talking Carnell Tate. I thought one of you guys would talk Carnell Tate.
Nah.
I love his size. I love his contested catch ability. 70%, like you said, Mystic. The only thing that kind of concerns me, if you look at him and his build, he doesn't look like he's that athletic compared to some of the pro receivers that we have, right? With the same size. That's why it kind of concerns with me a little bit. But I'm willing to look past that. But there's another guy. I can't wait to talk about him when we get to him. that I think would be a much better fit for the Miami Dolphins. So come back to me on that. But I definitely agree. This guy's definitely one of the top, I'd say top 6 receivers in this draft. Top 4 or 5 for sure.
You want to go second, Steve?
Yeah, I'll go second. Let's get the guy I don't want to say fell in love with, the guy that I grew a lot of respect for, and the guy I was looking for during the college playoffs, CJ Daniels. I asked for 2 things. It was between him and Cardell Tate. I wanted to see who was going to step up when the other teams took away their number 1. CJ took that and went, "Give me the ball, please," and ran with it. When his number was called, he showed up. That's the players I respect. 6'2", 205. He's going to run in the 4.4s. They project him as a 4th round. I wish he would fall that far, but I think there's going to be a run on receivers, and him and Elijah Surratt, I think, are going to jump up into closer to the 2nd round, even though I do think they do need some work as prospects. But reliable hands, good, decent route running, fluid hips, knows how to track the ball. His one-handed catch early in the year against, I think it was Notre Dame, if I'm correct, Mystic. I think it was that game
Yes, correct.
that like lit up the pages. People didn't even know who he was. They didn't know he spent 3 years or 4 years with Liberty and that he was with LSU last year. Like no one knew who this guy was before that.
Yeah, in fact, at Liberty, he averaged 19.4 yards per reception and had 5 100 games, punctuated a campaign that including a pair of 157-yard outings against Sam Houston State and New Mexico State.
Mm-hmm.
So
He recorded 0 drops on 42 catches in 2024 with LSU. You remember when everybody started talking about Garrett Nussmeier being the number 1 quarterback in this draft? That was when he had CJ Daniels. I'm just saying. This is
he
why I
also,
like this kid. He's
yeah,
consistent.
definitely. I like CJ Daniels. In fact, something I didn't know, because just talking about when he was with Liberty, right? They actually played Oregon when they were number 6 at the time in the Fiesta Bowl, and he had 8 catches for 80 yards in that bowl game against Oregon. So it wasn't the fact that he played for a lesser team and they played against like chump talent. He showed he could still do it even up against a top 10 team like Oregon at the time. So I like CJ Daniels for sure. Definitely.
Who's this guy again? I don't know who this guy is. I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. Shout out to the the Miami Hurricane fans in the building. If you know, you know. Didn't you say you weren't biased or anything? I'm feeling some South Florida bias with this one, Steve. I don't know.
I'm from Central Florida. I don't know what you're talking about.
I love it. I love it. No, I'm all for it, man. We've already talked about a couple guys that have, came from lesser schools and worked their way up and got their opportunities at the bigger colleges and thrived through the whole process. Last year, at 50 catches, 50 for 557 and 7 touchdowns, being number 2, showing up when Miami needed you to. No, nothing wrong with it at all. I'm very happy with it. He's a 6-year guy, but again, high production over that 6 years of his college career. So I'm all for it. I have no problems. I guess he had some injuries in 22, a little banged up in 25, but again, for the most part, from what I can tell, the dude's been there. He's available, reliable hands, good size. I don't think it'd be a problem if we're looking at, again, our GM talking about adding size, this and that. Day 3, round 4 or 5. If we haven't taken a wide receiver, why not? It's in your backyard.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Any final thoughts on CJ Daniels?
No, sir.
All right, Mystic. I think you're up with your guy.
You know, I've been looking over here and I'm just debating how I want to go through this process, you know. Man, oh man. I think I'm going to start off with the guy who transferred out of USC to go to Georgia this last year, Zachariah Branch, 5'10", 181. Projected to be a top 32 pick. We'll see elite speed, explosiveness, playmakability. The dude will easily be a returner, starting returner, rookie season for sure. I mean, the dude was a Jet Award winner. I don't know, man. I've always kind of had my eyes on this guy, and it's like you see. I saw flashes when he was um, at USC, right? And then he transfers. I feel like he had some downtrends the last year at USC, and kind of had some drops and some problems. And then I feel like Georgia, you know, he definitely maximized his skills, but small frame, definitely going to have to work on his route consistency, the route tree, and then sometimes inconsistent with his ball tracking ability. But you know, you're getting comps to Zay Flowers, McCole Hardman, things of that such. Some people call him like the human joystick because he's so, you know, flashy at times. Do you want an elite slot wide receiver? Because that's what it is. I think he's just going to be a slot guy. There's no way you want to put him, you know, outside consistently. You want to find ways to get this guy the ball in his hands line to make plays, and you know, scheme fits is what this dude needs to be.
What do you think, Steve?
So I'm gonna say something, and it might get a chuckle, it may not. Don't let Mike McDaniel see this guy. Do you know what? I don't know if y'all saw. Did y'all see his route tree percentage on Twitter earlier today?
No.
51% of his catches were screen passes behind the line of scrimmage.
Yes, I just saw that.
51% of his catches were screens. And he's going to be a 4-3 guy. This has got Mike McDaniel written all over it. Don't be surprised if the Chargers draft this kid.
What school did he play for again?
He went to Georgia last year, but prior to that, he was at USC.
Okay.
Yeah, crazy. Like like you said, you don't see him playing on the boundary. Don't tell Mike McDaniel that, because this is the type of kid. Like I was joking with somebody on Twitter earlier today. Like Mike McDaniel would use him like Devon Achane. Very similar skill sets.
Yeah, and he's what, like 5'10"?
Yeah, 5'11". 5'10". He is 5'10". He's the shortest wide receiver that I got. Shout out to Tony.
I'm just done with these 5'10" guys, bro. That's where I'm at for the Miami Dolphins. But to be honest, speed kills, bro. You got the fastest guy, and you think, you know, you got to take a shot at it. And I like my next guy. A guy I'm going to talk about. Not my next guy, but a guy I'm going to talk about plays with that. I want to say he plays with that speed. Definitely. So I can't hate it. I have to watch more tape on this guy, though. I have to do that. Those are my thoughts. Any other thoughts, Steve?
Nope. I think it's on to your guy, Ollie.
All right. I'm not going to talk about my pick for the Dolphins, a receiver, if we went that route yet. I am going to talk about this kid, though he's not going to get to participate at the Combine. He'll be there probably doing interviews Maybe they'll allow him to do measurement stuff, that kind of stuff, to get that out of the way. But I am going to talk about this draft's possible number 2, possibly number 3 best receiver. And that's Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State. So, Jordan Tyson, let me talk about him real quick. Jordan Tyson is a versatile outside receiver. He stands about 6'2", 200 pounds. All 3 of my receivers I'm going to talk about are anywhere between 6'2" and 6'4". Just going to point that out. Who emerged as Arizona State's top offensive weapon, scoring 61 receptions for 711 yards and 8 touchdowns in 2025. Averaged 11.7 yards per catch, while averaging roughly 79 receiving yards per game. Across his college career, both at Colorado and Arizona State, he produced roughly 158 catches, 2,280 yards, and 24 TDs. Showing steady multi-year productivity. Tyson's strengths include smoothness or route smoothness, field awareness, versatility across alignments, and consistent volume usage. Highlighted by heavy target share, 11 targets per game. He wins with body control, separation, timing, and reliable hands rather than just pure speed, though occasionally drops and lacks of elite deep burst remain concerns cited by different draft analysis, to be honest. Statistically, he's often compared to, and this is why I like him, this year's top receiver, in my opinion, Jackson Smith-Njigba is who they compare this guy to. Jackson Smith-Njigba doesn't have the top end elite speed, but he has elite, quickness between the hash marks that he's really fast at. And that's and how he sees the field and everything. And his route running is what makes him get open very easily. Definitely, he's one of the best polished route runners through thrive in space, but aren't run burners, if you know what I mean. His draft grade, essentially, he's a day 2 draft projection, probably with this injury. However, if he was healthy, I could definitely see him as being maybe the 2nd receiver, maybe 3rd receiver off the board, to be honest. He could still definitely be a 1st-round pick. I just think it definitely hurt his draft stock being injured. So that's what I think. His floor, he's going to be a reliable rotational slot outside hybrid receiver. But overall, I think he'd definitely be a starter in this league. Maybe a wide receiver 2, low end wide receiver 1. That's kind of where I have him. Watching his tape, his hands are really good. He catches the ball at the high point. Contested catches look good. Overall, I really like Jordan Tyson. What else can I say about him? Let's see. I think there was something else I saw. He had 8 100-yard performances that cemented him as a legitimate Division I talent, despite being ranked as just a 3-star talent prospect. So that's something to note for sure. That was in high school, by the way, not just in college. What else do you guys got on Jordan Tyson, Arizona State?
I got another interesting nugget on this kid. You know his wide receiver coach is?
Okay.
Hines Ward.
Hines Ward, that's a good one. That's actually a really good one.
And it shows because he's 5th among all receivers in college at run blocking snaps at wide receiver.
Yep.
It's strong. Problem is, I think him and Will Johnson both got their bodies made at the same factory, because damn if this dude can't stay on the field. Like, I know you said he might be the number 2. If he didn't get hurt last year, if he could show he could have stayed healthy, he would have been the first wide receiver taken off the board.
Yeah, because I think in the high end of things, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Steve, but I got to say this because a lot of people thought I would talk about Carnell Tate. I don't think Carnell Tate is, in my opinion, the top receiver in this draft. I don't think he is. I'll be fair about it. I think there are other receivers in this draft that I think, in my opinion, are more deserving, to be honest. But go ahead. I apologize.
It's not just that he's clutch. He has 12 first down conversions and 3 fourth quarter touchdowns to win games. Like the only question on him for me is his medical, and sometimes he fights the ball. He has concentration drop issues, and sometimes it pops up. It's not a lot, but it's enough that it caught my eye. But yeah, like the dude is just he has a he has an NFL receiver feel for zone. I don't know if that's something any of y'all saw, but he knows how to feel a zone out and be open. That you can't you can say you can teach that. That's instinct, and it shows.
I like just what everyone's been talking, besides obviously the injury situation. I feel like you have those guys every so often. They just have just elite talent, but the question is health. And here's another one. Funny enough, I told people about a month ago. He really, from what people described him to me before I started looking into him, he really reminded me of Brandon Ayuk coming out of Arizona State, having just a natural gift for just getting open, and his red zone ability of just having a superpower where the dude's always open getting touchdowns is crazy. I'm all for it. I love what I see from the guy. Again, it sucks that you have to question the knee and hamstring injuries and the ability for him to consistently be on the field, because prior to last year, I mean, the guy went off for 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns, right? And then this last year, 9 games, had 61 catches for 711 and 8 touchdowns. So it's like the production's there if he stays on the field. He clearly has the gifts that you want as a wide receiver to make the plays, to get the separation. I believe I saw something about his separation percentage. I think I lost it already. But he has a high separation rate. So again, if the kid can get his body right and stay on the field, I can definitely see that, number one for sure out of the kid.
Mm. Any final thoughts, Steve, before we move on to the next guy?
No, I'm good.
All right. Check out Jordan Tyson. Again, he's not going to be probably doing anything at the combine except maybe they do some interviews with him, maybe even, measure him up, weigh him, that kind of stuff. There'll be that kind of stuff that they probably do. So he won't be out there in his underwear, as we call the underwear Olympics. All right. Who wants to go next?
I'll go ahead and go, and I'm going to cut my list a little short just because we are running a little long tonight.
Sure.
I was going to talk about Malachi Lemon, but I think the combine will show enough of him. I'm going to go to something that has started to become a yearly thing for me, a Mizzou wide receiver.
I know who he's going to talk about too. Go ahead.
It's no secret I was a huge fan of Theo Weiss last year. I pounded the table that we needed him. I thought he could be really good, and damn did he show up for Quentin Ewers, right? Kevin Coleman Jr. He spent 1 year at Mizzou. He was at Mississippi State and then Louisville before that. He is your late round 5'11" guy who plays bigger than he looks, has consistent hands, averages between 11 and 15 yards per reception. He's a route runner. He's like they always say, you have that reliable tight end for a young quarterback. He's that reliable wide receiver for a young quarterback. He's got pretty damn decent footwork. He's had 7 drops in his entire college career on 271 career targets. Like he shows up. Yeah, I'm a big fan. He showed up during the East West Shrine Bowl. Him and Ted Hurst. So
What do you think, Mystic?
I'm just going to be honest and say I don't know anything about the guy. I'm going to have to do my research, but if it's anything like the 2 bangers you told me out of Mizzou last time, then we're in for a jam.
All right, I'm with you too. I don't know much about him, so I got to look at him and watch some tape. But if he's any good as the other ones, I'm definitely agreeing with you. So, all right, Mystic, who do you got? Who's your last receiver?
So I had 2.
Actually, before we go, let's just talk about our next receiver. You talk about yours, and I'll talk about mine. Because I have 2 also, but we'll just pick one. You pick one.
Yep.
And then for offensive lineman, we'll just do a quick fire. Who we think is going to be, just pick one guy of your offensive lineman and who's going to be a quick fire, so we can end the show on that.
Perfect. Give me 1 sec.
Okay, go ahead.
So I had the 2 I had. Well, I'm just going to name the one just because I wanted to talk about him briefly. What? I don't know if I'm going to pronounce his name right. Is it Casey Concepcion?
Conception.
Here we go. Dude just looks like an absolute burner. But that's not the guy I want to talk about. I want to talk about, was it Malachi Fields? 6'4" or 6'5" out of Notre Dame. 50-50 guy. Has all the contested playmaking ability you want. Obviously, excuse me. Honestly, it comes to his speed being a problem because he has limited separation, but it's usually a 50-50 guy. Elite size, physical blocker, high level contested catch. And yeah, 6'4", 218. I'm again, I was saving it because I wanted to, in my ones I had was kind of the one that I wanted the most. We're talking about keeping Jalen Waddle, just to keep it brief. For keeping Jalen Waddle, I want this big dude on the opposite of him. Makes sense. Give me them hands. Sign me up. 50-50 ball, red zone target.
I kind of like it. Just to give you some background on him, he was a 3-star recruit, but wide receiver was not what he was in high school. He was actually a dual threat quarterback, throwing for over 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns as a junior, while also rushing for 700 yards and 12 touchdowns on top of it. I think that's a great having that kind of experience, because as a receiver, as a quarterback who turned receiver, right? Where quarterbacks want you to be. You have a better idea of what it takes to understand timing, placement, as well as where the ball is going to be able to catch it easier. It's almost kind of like a cheat code in a sense. And it helps with continuity between you and your quarterback when you have that understanding of what their responsibilities are. I like this guy. He also he also played different sports too, not just football. I like that background overall. Something else, he started all 12 games in 2023 and hauled in 58 receptions for 811 yards and 5 touchdowns, earning second team all ACC honors. Overall, I think, I like the prospect altogether. And I do agree with you. For Miami Dolphins, this would be a good pick if Waddle's on the other side. What do you think, Steve? Steve, you're muted.
I think Steve fell asleep on us. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I was looking something up on him. It was the senior. Okay. I was trying to remember if he was at the East West Shrine Bowl or the Senior Bowl. It was the Senior Bowl. This kid was making people look stupid during the Senior Bowl. His route running is nice.
I forget who it was that he went up against. I know it was one. It was another not named Caleb Downs safety that I think he went up against that plays for Ohio State, and he torched that man. I'm pretty sure this is the guy that ran a post route right at him, and he was running like he was Jeremiah Smith or something, and broke his ankles like legitly. So I like the pick. I like this guy. Whatever team he ends up, I think he's going to end up being something special. So.
This is the kid I kept seeing us get mocked for as a wide receiver for the Dolphins. I love that. I love that. And I don't know if he's going to be a day one or day two. He may be a late day two kid and developmental because he does have some inconsistency in his game, inconsistency in his catching. But like this is the kid that you draft him and you're talking about him like the Bucks talk about Chris Godwin.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I like this pick. Any final thoughts on the guy, Mystic, before I move on to the guy that I think is a better fit for the Dolphins?
I'm running to the podium in the 4th round.
Okay. All right. I know I already went over 2 receivers, but if we're talking about the Miami Dolphins, since you guys brought it up, I'm running to the podium, not as my first pick. This is if we, which I do expect us to draft a defensive player in the 1st round. That's what this is about. And I don't think it would be a wide receiver, even if we don't go defense. This is if that pick's already been made. I do expect this guy to be in the 2nd round, maybe 3rd round, very possible, right? I'm going to go with USC's Jacoby Lane. Jacoby Lane is a prototypical big outside receiver, 6'4", 200 pounds. All my receivers were taller than 6 foot, right? I 6'2", and the other 2 guys are 6'4". Strong college resume and ascending draft profile. He finished his USC career with 99 receptions, 1,363 yards, and 18 touchdowns, including 49 catches for 745 yards, 15.2 yards per carry, and 4 TDs in 2025. Showcasing his ability to be vertical playmaker, a red zone target. Lane's key strengths include size, body control, high point ability, and contested catch prowess, making him a natural threat downfield and in tight coverage. His contested catch pops off the chart when you watch his tape. Literally, it is. Every other catch, he's either being double covered, it's been thrown behind him. He's going up and catching it at a high point. The guy just makes plays, and all of the throws seem to be down the field, right? None of these 5-yard out routes, none of these, I'm going to run 2 yards and turn around. None of that. He is down the field, all the time, and he's somehow coming away with the ball. What else can I tell you about him? He flashes crisp route selling and savvy release, especially on double moves, and his confidence at the catch point often wins battles against smaller corners. His weakness, though, he doesn't necessarily have the top end speed. They say he's around 4.55 guy, but when I watch him on the tape, he does look faster. So we'll have to wait and see where his number is. Separation consistency can be an issue as well. I don't necessarily see that. This guy finds a way to make it happen. If you watch his tape, you see some catches and you're like, how did he catch that? That's what you're going to say. People say that he reminds them of either George Pickens or Michael Pittman is another guy they compare him to. Like I said, he's a day 2 kind of guy. I honestly think he's either going to be 2nd or 3rd round at the very worst. His ceiling is being a reliable outside starting wide receiver who consistently wins contested targets. Could be a low-end wide receiver, a low-end wide receiver 1. His floor is that's a rotational boundary, to be honest. His scheme fit, Lane projects best in offenses that utilize physical outside receivers, vertical or play action systems that create opportunities for contested catches and downfield opportunities rather than exclusively timing based spread offense. So a Mike McDaniel guy, this is not the best receiver for you. I'm hoping now that we're post Mike McDaniel era, I'm hoping we move to this bigger body, physical, vertical threat receivers. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. So we'll definitely see. But I definitely think this guy can be something special, especially a go-to red zone threat for sure. What do you guys think of Jacoby Lane, especially for the Dolphins, since that's why I wanted to talk about him?
You know, again, don't know much about the guy, but what you just told me. I watched USC a couple times this year, actually. So it's like if I go back and actually look, I probably actually saw the dude making some plays. Both those wide receivers out there, I like them both. They're both playmakers. They're both good at what they do. I'm going to have to do a little more research, obviously, but any sort of big body contested wide receiver, again, that we can use to complement if we're, like they say, they want to build around A-Chain and Waddle and complement him with a big body. I'm okay with these guys. Give me these 50-50 dudes who they get deep on you, and next thing you know, they're boom, 50-50. They're coming away with it. We got a touchdown. Like, we need those guys. We don't need the dudes who are going to run by. We need the physical presence of, I'm jumping over your head and taking that ball. Sorry.
Definitely. And one thing that you talked about USC real quick, and I don't want to spend too much time on him because of our limited time. They had a quarterback, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, his name was Sam Levitt, I think, if I'm right. The quarterback that they had?
Yes.
Yes, Sam Levitt, right? There was instances on tape. I saw Sam Levitt get like he was being attacked from left, right, center, and he had to run out of the pocket and everything and make quite a few, off-scheduled throws. And it seemed like Jacoby Lane was there to save him for it, right? And even when he was throwing it, it was a wild ass throw, and somehow Jacoby Lane comes away with the catch still, right? In fact, one of them, I think he got hit and the ball like did this weird, spin and, went straight up and then came straight down. And somehow, even though there was two other corners there, Jacoby Lane still found a way to make it happen. I like Jacoby Lane because he can be that guy that you can throw the ball to when it's not on schedule, and he might be covered three ways to Sunday and somehow come away with the contested catch still. That's kind of why I like Jacoby Lane. Any thoughts from you, Steve, real quick?
Yeah, he reminds me of Garrett, not Garrett Wilson. Damn it, you said his name. The dude who was with Dallas. That came from
George Pickens.
George Pickens. Thank you, George Pickens. Absolutely see that. I preference the other guy on the other side of the offensive wide receiver unit. Myself, I'm a Lemon guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I like Jacoby Lane. I like his.
I don't expect Lemon to be there in the second or third round, so that's why I'm like, I like this kid a lot. I could see a fit for us. I'm going to talk about him because I just want to put his name out there. That's all. But go ahead.
Absolutely. I see the talent. I'm concerned. Like he has a really good release, but he gets thrown off his routes really easily by the bigger corners and the guys who are a little stronger. And like when he's out there, despite his 6'4" frame, he struggles to help in the run game, which for me I look for in wide receivers. Like it's just at least you're at least attempting. But I do like him. I think he would be a very good a very good companion for Waddle.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. All right. Since we're cutting it short to wide receivers, let's go to the offensive lineman, but we're not going to talk about every single offensive line person we had on our list. What we'll do is pick one offensive lineman you want to talk about, and we'll talk about that one person before we go to final thoughts, and we'll shut it down. All right. So we don't have to spend a lot of time on it. If is that okay with you guys?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, why don't you just name off the other two you got, just so people know who they are, and then talk the third one. Talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly what I'll do. Good point. All right. So who I had on my list, I had Caleb and I can never say his last name right. Lomu from Utah. Max Ironhanker I cannot say it. I'm sorry. Arizona State. And the guy I'm going to talk about, because I'm a Big Ten kind of guy, especially when it comes to offensive linemen, I think that if you want to take something out of the Big Ten and and you'd have a higher chance of it being right every time, it's offensive linemen. Trenches, right? Caleb Tiernan is who I'm going to talk about. Caleb Tiernan, just so you guys are aware, let me bring him up real quick on my list and notes. Here we go. Caleb Tiernan is a prototypical offensive tackle prospect in this league. He stands 6'7", 325 pounds. He's a multi-year Northwestern starter who earned second-team All-Big Ten honors in 2025 while starting all 13 games at left tackle and posting 84.3 pass blocking grade, top 10 nationally, with strong sack prevention consistency. Now, he's mostly left tackle, and that's probably going to be his main position. That's probably what he's going to be drafted as. But I did see tape of him being a right tackle as well. Not saying he can't do it, but he's better at the left tackle, and that's where he's going to be at. Over his career, he started more than 30 games, developing into Northwestern's offensive line anchor and experience at both tackle spots. As I mentioned, he can play both. Tiernan's strengths center on technical polish, balance, strong anchor and pass protection, calm leverage control, rarely getting driven back by power rushes or maintaining solid pocket integrity. He also shows good mobility for his size, positional versatility, and consistent fundamentals that translate well to zone blocking schemes. His weaknesses include lack of elite athletic traits or explosiveness, plus occasional arm length physical dominance questions that can limit upside against top NFL edge speed. NFL statistic comparisons frequently lean toward steady veteran type tackles, such as Sam Young type players, reliable, technically sound linemen, valued for consistency more than athleticism. If you want a guy that's going to be consistent, good blocker, good with his size, mobile, strong anchor kind of guy, this is the guy for you. I definitely expect him to be drafted specifically day 2, either round 2 or 3, or specifically you can consider him a safe offensive line prospect with starter potential. His ceiling is a dependable long-term starting tackle, particularly on the left side, who excels in pass protection. His floor is relatively high compared to many tackles. Prospect at worst, he's a swing tackle at very worst. Scheme fit standpoints, he profiles in zone blocking schemes or balanced offenses that emphasize pass protection, stability, footwork, and positioning rather than purely power run mauling, essentially. Overall, he's viewed as a technically refined, relative safe offensive tackle. Check him out. Northwestern starting offensive tackle, left tackle, Caleb Tiernan. Check him out.
Steve, you can go ahead and go.
All right. Well, because I had the one less running back, I actually had 4 people on my offensive line list. I'll run through quick. Jake Slaughter, the center from Florida. He's going to be probably the first center taken. I think he could play all 3 interior positions. Fabeki Nwewu, the offensive guard from Oklahoma. Again, a guy who was a walk-on at North Texas. Check him out, 6'4", 326. And then I was going to talk about my favorite offensive lineman from the U in this class, but we'll save that for afterward. What I am going to talk about is somebody who I've been consistently told we should take him in the first round. I have no problem taking offensive line guard in the first round, and I get it. This guy has everything you want. Ola Vega Ion from, and I probably butchered the shit out of it, from Penn State. Vega, 6'4", 330. and is a better athlete than anybody that will ever give him credit for. He consistently shows up when you see the two Penn State running backs I was just talking about. When you see them break off their big runs, guess who's leading that run from the right guard position? He is a stud. His comparison is to Tyler Booker from Alabama last year. And I see it. I get it. I get why Rashad loves him. he is if he goes in the first round, it's going to be late, and I wouldn't be happy, but I'm not going to be mad, but he wouldn't be my pick. That's what I'll say. He's going to be a great football player, and he's probably going to be the centerpiece of somebody's offensive line going into the future.
Hot take real quick, and Mel Kiper agrees with me. I'm predicting this guy is going to go later in the first round, and he's going to actually be Mike McDaniel's new offensive lineman.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, especially because of his versatility. And Mel Kiper agrees. He's going to the Chargers at 22, according to Mel Kiper.
Chargers about to be cooking next year, man.
We'll see. We'll see.
Is he doing his Paulie takeover for the Chargers now since it didn't work for us?
Say it again. Say it again.
What?
I said, is he doing the Paulie takeover for the Chargers since it didn't work for us?
Hey, who fucking knows at this point, right?
Yeah, who knows? We'll see. I think Mike McDaniel likes those versatile guys that can play any of those interior positions.
Oh yeah.
I think he loves those type of guys. Go ahead, Mystic. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're fine, man. You're fine. I love it. I think I've heard a little bit about that guy. So my wonderful list here. I have Blake Miller, offensive tackle out of Clemson, projected to be a long-term right tackle. I got Logan Jones, center out of Iowa, Joe Moore Award winner. They're saying he's like a different version of a Tyler Lindenbaum. And then I got the guy I'm going to talk about, which I didn't want to talk about him a whole lot, but why not? Jennings Dunker, O-lineman out of Iowa, 6'5", 315. Again, another Joe Moore Award winner. Violent hands, elite in what they call would be elite in a phone booth situation. So anyone getting close to this guy, you're getting the business. Nasty playing style. So currently, more frequently compared to current Pittsburgh Steelers guard Mason McCormick, but also people compare him to the likes of, like, obviously a Brandon Sheriff, who, again, tackle at Iowa, but then you look at what people believe him to be, people think that he's going to get moved inside the guard. Then they compare him to a Zach Martin. So you're getting everything you want. Like, you put this guy inside, you put him at right guard, whatever you want to do. Say you deem him, yeah, you're going to be elite here. We're putting you there. He has the pedigree, man, which, what would we call it? I think we call it the Iowa pedigree. Toughness, resilient, fundamentally sound. Exactly what this guy's going to be. He has no top end speed. He is the big offensive lineman that you want. He's going to be an immediate starter. You're going to plug him in. He's going to show you that he's everything and more that you thought he was going to be. He has a wrestling background. He has a great center of balance. I'm excited to watch this kid start playing, honestly, at the next level, because he's just going to be the violence that we love to see from these offensive linemen. I will absolutely continue to bang the table that if he is there in the second round, I'm running to the booth. I don't care what we got to do. Cool, do what you want to do at 11, but second round, if he somehow is there, you're putting it in. You got to.
Definitely. I like all three guys. I cannot wait to see what happens in this NFL Combine. It is going to be nuts. Let's get to the final thoughts real quick, gentlemen. Well, thank you for hanging out with us. This has been one hell of a show. Talked about a lot of different prospects, both at running back, wide receiver, offensive lineman. I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited for this draft now. Hearing about some of these guys. I will say it'll be very interesting to find out what happens. I know we didn't get to talk about all of our offensive linemen in depth. The guy out of Utah is really exciting. The guy from Arizona State is kind of too. I would say that we can definitely talk about those guys next Tuesday. I think we're definitely going to have a recap of the combine, the good, the bad, the ugly. I can't wait to talk about it. I can't wait to watch more tape, and especially some of the guys I didn't know that you guys had today. I'm going to go and watch tape and see what I think about them. So definitely cool. What are you guys' thoughts? Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I can't wait. Again, shout out to you, Ollie. Appreciate you, man. Again, Steve, shout out to you for joining us as well. This is the most that I've been locked into a draft probably in the last probably 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the most in-depth I've ever done on players. Looking into them more, backgrounds, what they're good at, what they're not. I appreciate it. I do want to take a moment because I had a piece in here that I totally forgot about until I see it now. One of our wide receivers that we looked at had a comparison to, the one unfortunate late Rondale Moore. Shout out to him. Rest in peace. I want everyone to know you always have someone out there. Don't think you're alone. You always have a friend. It doesn't matter who it is. Reach out. If you need help, ask somebody.
Absolutely. It was really sad. Thank you for bringing that up, Mystic. I was going to mention that towards the end here, and thank you for reminding me. But yeah, if you guys ever need someone to talk about to, even us, reach out to us, reach out to somebody. It doesn't have to be us. Definitely reach out to somebody, tell people how you're feeling and everything, because the more you talk about it, not only is it healing for the soul, but it's also, it lets people know that, hey, you might need some help or need someone to be there for you. So don't be afraid to ask. When silence is what really kills, in my opinion. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I think the most heartbreaking thing I saw was, I think it was Wandale Robinson's tweet to him. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
He had just talked to him or texted him earlier that day. But yeah, I'm excited. Like I said when we started the show, this is my favorite time of year. I love the combine and I love the draft.
I do have combine news that happened right as we started the show.
What's that?
So, to kind of follow up with you, I definitely love the combine also. I'm really excited, but this certain prospect, I have said that if he falls to the third round and we draft him, I'll be okay with it 100%. I think you're on board with it, Steve, and I think Mystic is too. Drew Aller has recovered from his injuries, will be throwing at the combine.
Sign me up.
Ollie, you know how I feel about him.
Oh, yeah.
He was my guy. He was my guy last year. I love the Jackson Dart, but he was my guy. Drew Aller was my guy. I want him this draft. He's gonna throw and he's gonna wow people again.
I
and if
know
he starts,
that's what we don't want.
Yeah.
We don't want him to wow people, damn it.
I know, and that's the problem. He's gonna wow people. He has the arm, he has the mobility, and he's not held back by a moron.
I don't think he'll run, but I think he'll throw. Maybe he'll wait for the pro day to run if he has to, but or do it on a private workout in front of everybody. But I know he'll throw for sure. I just don't know if he's going to do all the drills. Real quick on Drew Aller, there's a reason why people call him like a baby version of Josh Allen, right? Because he has that cannon of an arm. He can definitely run when he's healthy. I just don't think he had the right offense, the right coach, the right philosophy around him to take advantage of the abilities he had. Plus, Penn State is a run first team. They want to run the ball. They want to control the clock. And that's kind of how it ends up why they don't win the big games. They don't take advantage of their quarterback. And they haven't. Even the quarterback prior to Drew Aller, the same thing happened. They didn't really take advantage of his abilities. So that's what it comes down to. But I wanted to point that out. I know some of you message me, hey, why haven't you guys talked about quarterbacks at all? We are going to talk about quarterbacks, but we're going to wait till after the combine because I'd like to see how they perform before we come up with some of our assumptions and do a full show where we talk about the quarterbacks that are in this draft, because there's not very many that I think that are going to be really chased after. I think you're going to see a lot more late round quarterback action. You'll see maybe one or two guys in the first round, and then it'll be either late second or third round and later on in the draft that you see the rest. That's where I think it's going to be. What do you guys think? Yes, no, maybe so?
I can see that for sure.
Just saying. This draft does not have the best quarterback talent. Next year, though, 2027, holy crap. That's up and down talent at quarterback. Not going to lie.
I think this draft has a lot of quarterback talent.
You think
this
so?
draft doesn't have enough polished quarterbacks. It's
Okay.
a bunch of guys with a lot of talent and not a lot of polish.
Well, yeah, I would agree. They're not finished products. You're absolutely right. They're a project. It is a project. I would say
Yes.
probably 1, 2 guys I would say would be a finished product. Maybe. That's a big maybe because it depends on one of the guys, which I'll wait till our next show or when we do the QB show.
The word you're looking for is there's maybe 2, and I think a third quarterback that is NFL ready. Everybody else needs at least a year of development.
I agree. 100%. I agree with that. All right, everybody, hit the like button, subscribe if you're brand new, turn on the notification bell. Do us a favor, right? I see all these people coming and going and watching the show. Tell your friends. We have 4th and 10U at 4th and 10U. Look us up. Watch our other content. We talk about college football. We add some stuff that's going on in sports every once in a while when it's big news. Tell your friends, right? Tell your friends that love college football and then tell them to tell their friends. Come follow us. We're trying to grow our channel. Really appreciate everybody. But till next time, we'll see you next Tuesday when we're recapping, again, the good, the bad, and the ugly of the NFL Combine.